Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to the 76th Keep It Podcast, number 76, on the 22nd of June 2020. I'm the Gagaman.
I'm CherryT.
I'm ShelvedGamer.
I'm Hunk Thunder.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. My name is Elk. Yes, I'm still here.
You've been sitting in the Discord chat for a whole week waiting for the next podcast to come in. You're that excited.
Yeah.
Right, so we I don't know how to introduce things. Basically, what have we been playing?
Yes.
Who wants to go
Straight to
first?
it.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
I'll go first. As usual, Animal Crossing, although it is getting to the point where I'm just a bit bored of it now. Because it's
okay.
the same thing over and over. So,
Need to add
Yeah.
some more stuff.
yes, it's coming up to July now, so should be some new stuff coming in,
Oh, that'd be cool then. At least you'll have something.
You're
to
all
look forward
animal crossed out.
to.
pretty much. Yeah. What else? 51 Worldwide Games again. I'm still not any good at Mahjong.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone really is. They just lie about it.
Yeah. Although I did come across a YouTube video the other day, the World Series of Mahjong.
Oh yeah.
It still didn't educate me at all.
I did used to play some Mahjong Solitaire when I was in art college.
Mhm.
I was pretty good at it back then, but I hadn't played it in years, so I forgot how it works.
Mhm.
Yeah. Obviously, I've been playing a few of the itch.io bundle games, and
Oh, cool. What stuff have you been checking out on that?
well, it's mainly the stuff that you played on the stream because I thought, oh, that's good. I'll give it a go myself. And that Perfect
okay.
Park.
Oh
Perfect
yes.
Parking.
Did you actually manage to get any online players? Because last time I tried it again, I couldn't find anyone.
No.
Sometimes you just sit there for ages, like trying to beat that. Because that first level's impossible, isn't it? It's like the hardest level.
If you get over it, then pretty much the rest of it is like, I wouldn't say plain sailing because obviously there's a few levels which are still difficult, but
Yeah, I still feel like that first level's just way too hard. Like it's so unbalanced. Like
yeah. What else? I can't think of any other games. So yeah, that's me for this week.
fair enough.
Okay.
I guess I'll try and blitz through what I've been playing because I haven't been here for a week. So,
Oh, okay.
so I've finished Alpha with the Psycho Collection. I've moved on to Bravo.
Oh, nice. That's the one with both Gunbirds on, right?
Yes, and the Gunbird sort of, what do you call it?
The spin-off game, Gumberich.
Yeah, Gunbridge, yeah.
That game's great. I love that game.
Oh man, the Samurai Aces games, they are hard as nails.
Yeah.
Even by Psycho standards, they are hard.
Oh,
So yeah, I've been playing those. I have a lot easier time with Gunbird than I do with those.
Yeah, Gunbird's like a good entry-level Psycho shooter, I would say.
Yeah,
I mean, they were the first one I played on. I think the first one I played was actually Gunbird 2 on the Dreamcast.
Me too. That was my first one. I'd say that my favourite is probably either Gunbird 2 or Dragon Blaze. Both of those are really good. I love
Cool.
Dragon Blaze.
Ah,
I also got the SNK 40th Anniversary Collection, and I've been playing that a bit.
ooh, sweet.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been educational.
yeah,
So I say-
it's one of my favourite retro collections to recently come out. Not necessarily because of the selection of the games, but also because of the strange selection of games. Because it's not
The
like
obscurity.
there's no obvious classics on there. It's all just like weird, obscure stuff. Even by they're not exactly like the games you think of when you think of SNK.
No,
It's all the stuff they
mean,
did before the Neo Geo.
Yeah, I mean the most well-known thing on there is probably Ikari Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Crystallis. You know?
Have you played the second one yet? That one's really strange.
The one with the swords.
Yeah, the swords
Yeah.
and it's in space and yeah.
It's
Victory Road, right?
yeah,
That's the one, yeah.
it's a weirder collection of games than I would have thought. Speaking of Ikari Warriors specifically, I expected it to be more Contra, whereas like the sequels would be more of the same. And I guess to an extent they are, but not really. They're very thematically different.
Yeah.
Um,
3 is hilarious. I love that game. It's so dumb.
That one is great in particular.
But I thoroughly enjoyed Athena. I think that's a great game.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Are you sure you're not getting confused with Psycho Soldier? Because I enjoy that.
No, I like that as well.
I found Athena impossible. Like, even when you're rewinding constantly, it's just really cheap. Some of the bosses are horrendous in that.
Oh yeah,
Athena is one of those games where you really have to know what you're doing in order to excel at it.
You need to know where all the power-ups are. It's one of those.
Yes, you definitely have. Yeah, like I think I got to a point in that game where I was near the end of the game, but there was like a time limit put on it, and it was literally impossible for me to beat the level. Basically, like the time kept running out, and no matter what I did, I couldn't. Basically, because I didn't have the right stuff.
That's one of those games where, when I think about it, it makes more sense as a console game. Which makes sense. I mean, there is also an NES version, which is in the collection.
Yeah,
the NES one's even worse.
Yeah, it's not a great port.
No, it really isn't. It's absolutely garbage.
In theory, I do agree with you. The wealth of power-ups in that game, there's quite a lot of power-ups, which I think is really cool. It's just that some are more viable than others.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so I like it. Psycho Soldier is hilarious.
I love it.
Song.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I love the fact that got like a remix in Smash Brothers when Terry came to it.
Yeah,
it did. It did have an excellent remix. Bilingual too.
Yeah. Apparently, and I guess everyone here knows this, but it was the first ever voice acted song in a video game.
Yep.
Ever.
Yeah. And when they released the Famicom version of Athena, they actually bundled a cassette with that song on it.
Yes. Yeah. That's so cool. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. And I've also been playing Sunset Riders because that came out on the arcade episodes. Fantastic.
Oh, that's already out now?
Yep, it's out now. So it's interesting because when you pick your version you're playing, as you do in all those hamster games, you've got the Japanese and American version, but you've got 2-player version and 4-player version of each.
That's cool. Yeah.
I didn't know why they did that.
I think it's because there were different variants of the machine, the one with 4-player and one with 2, and maybe there's like differences.
Yeah. There's a good reason for it.
That was common with games like those. That was also the case with like The Simpsons and obviously the X-Men arcade game.
Yeah,
but there's a good reason because the 4-player one, you are whatever arcade stick you press start on.
Just like Simpsons.
Yeah. 2-player, you get put to a character selection screen.
I see. That makes sense.
2-player is obviously better in the most cases because otherwise you're going to be forced to be. Bill, is it? No, not Bill. The other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the Japanese version is interesting because in the American version you don't get any 1-ups from points, where the Japanese one you do. So if you are going to pick one, play the Japanese version for that reason.
It's kind of like if you emulate, say, The Simpsons. If you try to emulate that, you can only play as Marge because she was 1-player. Unless you find like ROM hacks that let you play the other characters, because I don't think there was a 2-player variant of that game.
Yeah. Unless you set yourself to 3-player or whatever.
Yeah, and I think I watched a video recently about people that actually used the original arcade PCBs at home, like they plug them into like Scan Converter or whatever and play them on their TV. And if they've got something like The Simpsons, they actually have to buy separate like chips that you put on the board to make it so you can play the other players as the player one.
Something like that.
Hey, Pickle Man. Yeah. Who made Commando?
That was Capcom.
Yeah, Capcom. Yeah.
It was Capcom.
Yeah. Right. So unfortunately not on the collection, but
I would like another Capcom collection like that one they did on the PS3, that M2 collection. I'd love to see that brought over.
That was a great collection. That was by M2
It was, yeah. It had a lot of games, all like nice little extras with them and all that as well. Yeah.
I guess for Americans, like Ikari Warriors and Commando were those big ones that they played. But at least speaking for me, it was Secret War. on the Master System.
Oh yeah.
Which was, I think it was marketed in America as Rambo 2.
Oh, do you mean Secret? Was it Secret
Yeah.
Command?
Secret
Command,
I believe it was called.
Secret
Command.
Command. That was it.
It was released here as a Rambo game. Yeah.
I remember playing that. It was my first top-down shooter.
Yeah, just like in America, it got Rambo like a photo of Stallone on the cover, whereas we just got like this MS Paint guy with a gun.
It just looks so bad.
Really awful, like barely rendered man with a crap-looking pistol.
Mouth.
Yeah, no mouth, just like beady eyes.
I did actually play a Ikari Warriors arcade machine once at a local barcade, but unfortunately the rotary joystick wasn't working, so I couldn't actually rotate my character.
I like Ikari Warriors, but it's a tough one. It's a tough game. But yeah,
that's the kind of game where you really gotta squeeze through enemy fire if you and just inch your way through.
Almost treat it like a bullet hell. You have to just think that you just got to scrape past bullets and.
I feel I'm playing.
Same with what's that game called? That's also in the collection. There was another. No, not POW. Guerrilla War. That's it.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Guerrilla War is like a spiritual sequel, I think. Or
some rather questionable theming. Yeah.
Although that one's loosely based off of real events.
Exactly. It's a bit. I'm surprised they even put that on there because it's a little bit.
Touchy subject.
Yeah.
I like it though because
it's good.
My family on my mother's side is from Cuba, so I showed them. I actually showed them Guerrilla War just because of how interesting it was that there was a game like that based on the Cuban Revolution. And it's even better because the collection comes with all that behind the scenes stuff.
Yes, which I really love. It's really in depth and really sort of personalized. It feels, doesn't it?
Yeah. The only thing that kind of sucked is in that gallery section. There's like all these like scans of like old SNK fan magazines and stuff, but they haven't translated any of it. It's all just left as is, like in Japanese. It's like I want to know what it says. At least like footnotes would be nice.
Quite a tease.
So
not to mention the gallery shows a whole bunch of other games that aren't in the collection that I really wish they'd put in there.
Yeah, there are a couple of misses, I feel. But it's a great collection overall.
Yeah.
So I played that. I played a bit of R-Type 2. You can't see my hand, but I'm sticking up my middle finger because it's really hard. So I suck at R-Type.
I'm not great at it.
I just suck at R-Type.
I suck at it too. Pretty much every version I've played, whether it's the arcade, the Master System, the TurboGrafx version on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini.
Sometimes I
have R-Type Dimensions on the 360.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing on Switch. So what are you saying? I
was going to say, sometimes I feel like you are either good at R-Type or good at Gradius. You can't be both. Like one of those things. You either grew up with R-Type and know it inside out, or you grew up with Gradius. Or I don't know.
You would have
I'm
thought
good at neither, but I'm a lot better at Gradius.
Yeah.
You think I would have grown up with R-Type because we didn't. Nintendo wasn't big here, and there was a not great Sega port of R-Type, but we had one. So
it was all right. It was good for the for the time.
It was better than the NES version.
Yeah.
Probably not better than the TurboGrafx 16 version.
No way.
But I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
Yeah. It's good enough at the time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I played that, and I've been playing Octopath Traveler. About 10 hours into that.
Okay. Did you just get that then?
I've had it for a while, but it's been on the back burner because it's just a huge game. I looked on howlongtobeat.com and it was like, it's going to take like 80 odd hours, and I was like,
it's worth the money then.
No, I'm liking it. Like I say, it does feel like like you're trudging through it. Everything feels like it takes a little while, but it's fine. It's a very nice game. It's a good game. It's a very nice game to look at.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the narrative is quite nice as well, because I feel like you're quests are a more manageable scale. Like play a lot of JRPGs, and it's always like this world-saving event. But here it's more like lots of small personal quests, which may go into something bigger later. But for now, it seems like everyone's got their own little personal quest, and it's all very important.
Yeah.
So I'm liking that, and yeah. So hopefully I can stick with that. But I think that's about it for me.
Okay.
Cool. Maybe I'll go next because
go for it.
even though I haven't played much, I do have quite a lot of games that I played.
All right.
So first of all, I bet you think that I'm going to talk about Phantasy Star Online 2 because I might have played that a lot the past week. Instead, I'm going to talk about Phantasy Star Online 2.
Wait, what? You almost had us there. I thought you were going to say Phantasy Star Online 1.
Nah. Although I do have the first Phantasy Star on the Dreamcast. Phantasy Star Online, anyway. But yeah, I'm still learning a lot more about that game. I'm learning a lot more about personalizing your character because there's a lot more to that in this game than I thought there would be. So like first off, I figured out that you can switch your classes in the game, so you could try out every class if you want and level each one up individually. And then on top of that, you can select one of them to be a subclass, so you get some of the skills that are exclusive to that class, even if you can't use any of the weapons exclusive to that class. So for example, currently I switched over to a bouncer class, which uses the jet boots and soaring blades weapons. And then I tried out a few other subclasses just to level each one up individually for when I'm ready to try them as a main class. Most recently, I switched over to a gunner class, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's two gun classes. There's the Ranger and the Gunner. Ranger is from the first game, so you probably remember that if you played the first. Gunner is similar. Wait. No. I said Ranger. I'm getting confused. Sorry. Gunner is the newer class. I believe the Gunner is capable of using the twin machine guns introduced in the Phantasy Star Universe series. And the Ranger is capable of using launchers, both of which I believe can use assault rifles and gun blades. And in fact, a lot of other classes can use gun blades. Hunters and bouncers can use them as well. Essentially, it's a short sword, which you can switch the mode to have it function as a firearm. So I did a lot of that, and later on I'm going to switch to either Ranger or Gunner to give that a shot, because I wound up collecting a whole bunch of different guns, as well as discs for Ranger and Gunner combat skills. And I also found out that in the main lobby there's a whole bunch of NPC characters standing around, and they don't seem important at first, but I figured out that when you talk to them, some of them will actually provide you with subclasses to help teach you the ins and outs of each of these classes. So if you switch, so for example, in the back, there's this in the back next to one of the doors leading to the other areas, there's a cast girl named Risa, and she, I believe, is a Ranger. So you talk to her if you switch to Ranger, and she'll give you some subquests to accomplish. So one of them is to kill a certain number of enemies, any enemies really, with an assault rifle. And she'll give you a basic assault rifle in case you don't have one. So you don't have to go buy one or look for one.
So it's sort of like a training mission, basically.
Kinda, yeah. And then, of course, when you do that, you get the bonus XP that you typically get from subclasses. So it's good for leveling. And then on top of that, when you also gather a lot of armor and weapons when you're out questing. It's the whole loot grind. Just like the original Phantasy Star Online.
Pretty much, yeah. I almost feel like that game was one of the original loot grinds.
Yes, yeah.
Pretty
Trying to get all like the rare stuff. It's just like, oh, it's a rare. Oh, right, no, it's not.
But yeah, even if you don't find rare items, and you tend to find a lot anyway, because I tend to get a lot of try boosts just from logging into the game, which raises your chances for more Meseta, more XP, and more rare item drops for a limited amount of time. But if you find something that you particularly like for any reason, there's ways to affix different attributes to your equipment, or to like sacrifice other equipment that you don't like in order to level it up. So you can make things ultra powerful. Any particular thing that you find that you just happen to like. And then, of course, there's the weapon camo items that I mentioned a while ago. Those are typically more special, so they're harder to come by. They come with quests, and some of them are paid items. But there's a lot of nice ones.
So, have you been enjoying Phantasy Star Online still? Do you know?
Oh, no, I hate it. It was definitely not worth the wait. Screw that game. That game's no... Of course I like it. I love that game.
When you would...
I play it pretty much I've been playing it almost every day now. There's so much to explore in that game. Plus, there's a lot of urgent quests going on right now, which is really pretty exciting. And other special events, like after I watched the Hatume Miku concert this week, the next day I saw another concert with the in-universe idol named Kuna. And like I mentioned, when you watch those, you get another try boost. So you just get try boosts after try boosts after try boosts piled on lately. Plus, when you watch the Miku concert, you also get a disc of the song that she and Luca sang at their concert, Living Universe, the theme song from Phantasy Star Portable 2. So you can play that in your living quarters if you have a jukebox. I don't have one yet. I need to find a way to get one sometime.
Yeah. Been playing anything else?
Yeah, actually. I started playing Miitopia on Nintendo 3DS.
Oh. Okay.
And like Rhythm Thief, this is a game I bought a while ago and just forgot about for a long time. But I'm finally giving it a shot now.
Oh, I remember 5CM Prince really got into that.
Yeah, and I remember I was pretty attracted to it after watching Vinesauce play it. He had a really hilarious playthrough from that game, just injecting all the wacky characters and other celebrities into it, and just coming up with strange lore surrounding each one, which is also based on everything that happens in the game.
Yeah.
When you said that, I heard Utopia too, so I was completely.
I kind of thought you said Utopia as well at first, and then I realised as soon as she said 3DS, I was like, oh yeah, Utopia.
Yeah, they do sound familiar, but Miitopia is completely different. This is a simplified JRPG, which is entirely based around Miis.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I definitely remember 5CM telling us about this quite some time back.
Yeah, is that the one with the weird singing?
The weird what?
Where you can make them do the singing, or is that a completely different game?
I think it's sort of that game.
That's
Tomodachi.
Oh, I'm getting confused with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah, this game is different. This is an RPG that's more of a life sim, like Animal Crossing.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Miitopia, it has its own story with its own characters, and you can use whatever Mii you want. You can even import Miis from Tomodachi Life if you've played that game, and you can have them play any of the characters. And your party will gather all sorts of different characters where you can choose their classes and you can choose the Miis that represent them. And when you go into towns or other areas, it'll often have just random characters that are represented with random Miis that are pulled from the internet. So the first
I suppose
town
that still works. Oh, I suppose 3DS
Yeah.
it would, yeah.
Yeah, so like the first town I went to in the game, just as an example, there's a carefree town. There's a carefree guy who's represented by Reggie Fils-Aimé, a cheery grandmother represented by Marie of the Squid Sisters from Splatoon.
Or is this just who you randomly ended up with, or?
Yes.
Ah, right.
There's a cheery kid represented by Peanut Butter Gamer, the YouTuber.
Okay.
There's another guy who's represented by 50 Cent. And
Sure, why not?
the town mayor is Peter Griffin from Family Guy.
God.
Oh,
It's a unique experience.
This is yours and yours only.
And when I went to the castle, the king has 2 servants. I could assign any Mii I want to the king. His 2 servants are random. I wound up with Waluigi and Gabe Newell.
Sure.
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
It was a 3DS game all along.
And there's 2 castle guards as well. One of them, I forget who it is. The other is Bulma from Dragon Ball. And my party characters are just some close friends of mine. And then the bad guy, the Dark Lord in the game. The Dark Lord, what he's doing is he's stealing the faces of all the innocent Miis in the land. So I had him represented by a teacher I used to have in art college who
used to steal your face, did she?
Actually, this teacher used to get on my case for drawing characters with big eyes because she attributed big eyes to anime. And she was
So she stole your anime faces or your big eyes.
This teacher does not like anime. She was telling me that. Yeah, I know. A lot of them do. But this teacher was telling me that when you draw big eyes, regardless of what they look like, it's anime, which is bad because she doesn't consider anime art. And so I used to make fun of her all the time with all sorts of joke drawings. Like one where she yells at Western characters with big eyes, like Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, Homer Simpson, Scott
You're all
Pilgrim.
anime. I mean, technically everything's anime because anime is just a different word for animation.
Yeah.
And then I called her out for her own artwork where she draws characters with big eyes, even though it isn't an anime style. And she freaked out when I did that.
That's when she stole your face.
Yeah,
ripped it right off.
In my
confiscated it for
your main character in this game doesn't get their face stolen, but in my headcanon, this teacher, she was so offended by the Mii's faces because Mii's typically have big eyes that she's stealing their faces.
Don't you mean me headcanon?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
0 viewers.
Yep.
Well, I guess we may as well stop the podcast now because everyone left.
So, have you been playing anything else, or is that all you've been playing?
Well, there's one random retro game I guess I'll mention.
Okay.
I played. I also spent some time with Marvel vs. Capcom Origins on the PlayStation 3.
Oh, nice. I really regret not buying that. Like I've got them on the Saturn, but I would have liked to have had them on there, but I just didn't get around to it at any point because it never went on sale and then it just disappeared.
It is nice, but it's also kind of a basic package. It's nice to have both of those games in one package in HD with a lot of concept art. But really, there's not much more to it that you wouldn't be missing out on playing the game elsewhere.
That's fair.
Especially because there's probably nobody playing online anymore.
Yeah, I doubt it. Apparently, Marvel 2 still has a bit of an online community on PS3 and Xbox 360 because apparently the netcode is actually not that bad. Like, it's actually quite good.
Oh yeah, I guess that's probably not that surprising. I do have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on PS3 as well, and I played that a bit. I didn't try playing it online though. I assumed no one was there.
Yeah, I think I've heard
yeah,
it's had
both
waves of like communities around it.
But both games do have GTPO rollback netcodes, so the online should be pretty solid.
Yeah, these days, if you've got a game that's like quite dead online, most of the time people you find them sort of in like Discord servers and stuff, where they set up a Discord server just for this, and that's usually the best way. That's the best way to tend to find games for quote unquote dead fighting games and such these days.
Yeah.
If you can.
But I wanted to go back to that game because, as I mentioned a couple podcasts ago, I wanted to play a bunch of fighting games to get some practice in with them because I stopped playing them after a while, and it's a lot harder than I remember it was to relearn the ins and outs of Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel superheroes.
Yeah,
air combos in particular are a lot harder than I remember them being.
I never technically got any good at those. Like, I know you have to do like a super jump after you launch them and all that kind of stuff, but like I never really played those games very seriously. I just bash buttons and hope for the best.
Well, MVC2 is basically pick Sentinel and win.
MVC2, it's easier to do air combos in that game, but in each of those games, pretty much every character has at least one attack that launches characters into the air. So you have to figure out what that attack is. When you use that attack, you hold up and they immediately jump up in the air if they manage to hit the opponent.
Yeah.
And then you get to hit them while you're in the air. I believe it's back and two of the attack buttons, I forget which, but that's how you switch characters during your air combo to continue the air combo, assuming you have enough energy in your gauge. Yeah. But in before Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the air combos are apparently a little less straightforward. They're I think what happens is you have to try a certain string of attacks, so you can't just use any of the basic attacks. Otherwise, the combo ends too early. But when you figure it out, it is really exhilarating.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. Also, it's nice how Marvel vs. Capcom Origins has a training mode, so you can practice freely. Especially considering this, the game is using the arcade version of both games.
All right. Well.
Yeah. So that's about it.
Okay.
And just a quick reminder to anyone who's playing Phantasy Star Online 2. You have until tomorrow to, when you're in the lobby, enter "Gotta Go Fast" into the chat window.
All right.
and then go to a Visiphone, and you'll get 5 free Sonic themed items for Sonic's birthday.
Oh, cool.
But you have to do it before midnight tomorrow.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Okay, cool.
Oh, is that like the Visiphone that you have to try and steal in like Phantasy Star 2?
I assume so.
Or was it like it?
Maybe, but in Phantasy Star Online 2, there's a bunch of kiosks around the lobby. The Visiphone I'm talking about has an exclamation mark over it. You pick up campaign items that you earn by going over to one of those.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll go next because I'll be quite quick because I haven't actually been playing a lot this week. I've mostly been sort of dabbling in a couple of the games that I didn't get to stream for the itch.io bundle, and I've also been playing the usual Asphalt. I've been playing a little bit more of that Namco Museum collection as well on the Switch, trying to get... Like, I feel like Galaga 88 and Pac-Man have been my go-tos, and Rolling Thunder. They're the three I've been going back to a lot. I don't know what it is about Galaga 88 that just makes it feel more fun than the original.
Yeah, it's just happy. I love the art style.
There is a lot more going on in that game than there was in the original Galaga.
Yeah, to be fair. And I also just, for some reason, find that one easier, and I'm not sure why. Yeah. Maybe because you can pick, like, just having two ships at the same time.
I know that there are a lot of purists in like the high level prefer the original Galaga to 88.
Oh, for sure, yeah, I can understand that. Like, there's a pureness to it.
For me personally, 88 improves in it, at least in a casual sense, in every way. So
yeah,
it's all good.
But yeah, other than those, I've been dabbling, as I say, in a couple more of the itch.io bundle stuff. I ended up re-downloading the games because I didn't realise that they actually have a itch program which you can actually you can just install the games directly into, and it's kind of like Steam. It actually tells you how much time you put into the games and that. So I was like, I had all the games downloaded that I wanted, but then there's no way to like insert them back into the itch app. So I had to re-download them through the app and basically start again on any games that I had, which was a bit of a shame. But yeah, one of the ones I was playing that I was quite pleasantly surprised by was a platformer called Cats Are Liquid. That was quite fun. Don't really know how to describe it. It kind of reminds me of Thomas Was Alone, if anyone remembers that game. It's that kind of like narrative platformer where you're like going through the level and there's like a dialogue going on at the time, and it's like, oh, you're all alone, where are your friends, and all this kind of stuff, and you're just sort of bouncing around. Yeah, and then eventually you find some other. They're literally just like cat balls. They're just like round cats that just roll around, and it's very similar to that. Yeah, like Thomas Was Alone, kind of. As you're going through all the levels, all different mechanics being included. Including one where you can just turn the cat into smoke. He just becomes a little cloud with a little cat face on it, and you can just like drift.
Smoke from Mortal Kombat popped into my head.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so yeah, you can just like become a little cloud and go through like gusts of wind and all this kind of stuff. And I presume there's even more to it than that as you go further in. And I've also been playing a lot more of that Rising Dusk. That was the one that was like an uncollectathon where it sort of had that sort of like mystical ninja art style to it, kind of like all yokais and stuff, and you're basically trying to resist collecting coins, otherwise you like go through platforms that have a certain number of coins written on them. Yeah, that game gets really hard. It gets really tough pretty quickly. Like, there's quite a few different routes you can go on the map, and I think I must have gone down like the hard route because it got quite tough. Like, almost every single level has a section right near the end where it expects you to literally have 0 coins. But then there's also, they want you to go through the levels again collecting all the coins, because there will always be something like one of those golden cats hidden behind like a 13 block or something. So yeah, that's all quite interesting. What else did I play? I think that's mostly it, really. I didn't really play all that much this week. Mostly been drawing, actually. Who's left?
Beautiful.
Is it just me left now?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've carried on with the Isle of Armor DLC and Pokemon Sword.
Oh yeah.
I have a feeling that I've completed the story of that now, so it's now.
It seemed like it. I think because when we finished that stream, we were honestly like, was that the whole thing? But there was a little bit more, wasn't there?
Yeah,
there was a bit of extra stuff.
But I think I ended up completing it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a case now of looking for the other Pokemon that were added to the game now.
That was the thing that got me about that as well, is they kind of didn't word it very well. They made it sound like you only get all these extra Pokemon if you buy the DLC, but that's not actually the case. They're just part of the patch. So even if you haven't got the DLC, most of those old Pokemon you can still get. They're just like scattered around the whole map, the whole of Galar. So that was a bit weird.
Just it's mainly just been that, and other than some of the games we've been playing on streams.
Ah, yes. Yeah, some of them Saturn games. I would like, I don't know if you mind if I mention this, like on that Saturn stream, one of the things that was really cool was that Picross game we played, Uchan's Logic Puzzle. Well, it wasn't co-op, it was actually like a versus mode. But the fact that it was like you take turns and you're both like sharing the same board and you're basically just trying to get the most tiles over the other person while still solving it. But to me, it felt like a co-op thing. And because I've never really like clicked with Picross, I still don't feel like I've 100% clicked with it yet. But that felt, because obviously you know your way around Picross and I don't, it felt like if you watch the stream, you'll notice that like I'm like, oh, I'm starting to understand this now because you're sort of helping me with it. It was a really cool. It felt like co-op. It felt like we were working together, even though we technically weren't supposed to be. You know, I thought that was really cool extra. I wasn't expecting the 2-player mode to be. I thought we would have like 2 separate boards and we just have to solve it before the other person. In which case, I would have just failed miserably. But the fact that it was like sharing the same board and we were sort of sussing out the pattern together was really cool. So I actually kind of looking forward to doing a bit more of that at some point and actually trying to learn per cross because, as I say, like if I tried to play it on my own still, I still kind of struggled with the whole thing. But I got like a rough gist of it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think I carried on a little bit with Pokemon Crystal as well, but that's been about it really.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking. I'm looking into what else is in the Isle of Armor.
You still haven't got all the Diglets yet, have you?
Oh no, I've still got to do that.
As you collect those Diglets that guy's looking for, like the 151 of them or whatever it was.
Oh
he slowly gives you a lowland Pokemon, doesn't he?
I think he does, yes.
Yeah, and I think from what I saw, if you get all 151, he just gives you one of those Diglets. It's like a lowland Diglett, so I guess it will evolve into Hanson at some point.
Yeah, I like the Hanson thing.
Yeah, so it's got to be worth it just to get him, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you can, of course, trade him in from an older game.
Yeah, you can from like Go and that.
Oh, okay. Ah, well, I suppose it's not necessary then, but yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing to do in that DLC.
Yeah. Otherwise, I've got to admit, for that much money, it did feel a bit like a bit much. But then we got the other side of the.
Yeah, technically that's what is it, £27?
Yeah.
Something like that. But obviously, you're talking about half of that DLC. I'm just kind of hoping the second half is maybe a bit more substantial. I will say one thing about it is that entire island appeared to be done in the style of like the Wilds, where it was all open.
Yeah.
And you're not like just like forced down like corridors like most of the main game was.
Oh no.
It was like the Wilds area but bigger, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is what people wanted from Sword and Shield. They wanted a more wild stuff.
Yes.
So
that's good. That element of it was quite good. It's just not a massive island. Like, I'm kind of hoping the second substantial, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for how much they're charging for it. It seems like a lot.
Yeah, there are quite some things I do like about it. Like I say, with the additional Pokemon you can get, including an old favourite, like the Lillipup family.
Oh right.
They're the one. They're the ones that look like Yorkshire Terriers.
Oh yeah, so you've got one of those as one of your part of your team now, haven't you?
Yeah, and he's following me.
Massive moustache.
Yeah,
Stoutland.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I've been teaching him like digging moves and that, so because obviously ground's good against electric.
Yeah.
For the Zeraora raids.
Yeah. Oh, are they still going on? Or
I think they're on until next Sunday, I think.
Oh, okay, so still quite a while on those. And then hopefully you might get a shiny one by the end of it.
Hope so.
Yeah. Huh.
That's mainly what I've been playing.
Right, cool. Right. So, I guess we should move on to the news. And we shall start with the 2020 Video Game Hall of Fame inductees, which have just been announced in the week.
Excited to talk about this.
Right, so 4 more games have been inducted. Basically, I think they add about 4 games each year, and they always have a big short list of games that they reckon, and people vote what they want in. So the games that have been entered, I guess, into the Hall of Fame for this whole thing is Centipede, the old Atari classic, King's Quest, Minecraft, and Bejeweled. And apparently the other choices that didn't make it were Frogger, GoldenEye, Guitar Hero, NBA Jam, Nokia Snake, or just Snake, Smash Brothers Melee, Uncharted 2, and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? They were all
filled.
Yeah, yeah. That last one kind of took me by surprise as well. But yeah, basically none of those ones got in this time, I suppose.
Yeah, but you know what? They'll get another chance. This isn't actually the first time that Minecraft was a finalist for the World Video Game Hall of Fame.
I see. So it missed out before.
It did a while ago, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, all anyone can say about it, its cultural significance is unmatched at this point, you know.
Of course. Yeah.
Like, I'm not necessarily a fan of some of these games, like Minecraft. I'm not a big fan of, but I can't deny that it's absolutely earned its place in video game history. In fact, all 12 of these.
Oh, all of them, yeah. Well, minus
if I don't,
perhaps.
So
yeah, that one's a bit odd.
Even if I don't necessarily like every one of these games, I definitely would never have been unhappy with the results.
I would maybe
I'm a little happier if
I'm a little bit
voted for made it in though.
I feel like Bejeweled's a little bit questionable because it is just a clone of another game. Well, it's more or less just like it's not the original one of those kind of puzzle games. Like I would personally put it's the most famous one, but it's not the game that revolutionized that genre of puzzle games. It's the catalyst of what made millions of clones come out for like the DS and the iPhone and all that. I guess you could say that. So yeah, it's just super popular. That's kind of the only thing it's got. Yeah.
I guess you could say that with Minecraft with Infiniminer as well, because Infiniminer
I suppose
to an extent. Maybe to a lesser extent, but you know, Minecraft was by not just own admission a clone of Infiniminer, but yeah, you know, I see what you mean. I
don't know. Maybe I'm just like out of the loop with that kind of thing. I just kind of feel like Bejeweled was just like, oh, it's like columns, but it's
I find it curiously diverse. The ones that got picked.
Yeah.
Funny. I often hear Bejeweled compared to Columns all the time, but Columns
doesn't really play anything like it. But
no,
yeah, exactly. They play very differently. The only thing they have in common is that they use gems to represent the items.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but like Minecraft, King's Quest, Centipede, and Bejeweled feel like they're completely different target demographics.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's a good variety.
Like you know, King's Quest is like one of those things where it's like, who's thinking about King's Quest these days? You know, I mean, I like King's Quest. Don't get me wrong. It's just one of those things where I don't hear people really talking about it outside that remake that came out a few years back.
Yeah,
there's a few YouTubers I watch that talk about it from time to time, but you know, other than that, it's kind of lost its significance over the years. But I mean, at the same time, you could say that about a lot of the games that are,
you know,
for sure. And it definitely paved the way for a lot of role-playing games.
Yeah,
beyond that, yeah, exactly.
It's the precursor of the sort of point and click, use everything on everything game. You know?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Get ye flask. You cannot get ye flask. All that kind of stuff. Well,
I mean, couldn't, except in that game, I don't believe you could really point and click it anywhere at all.
It was type, yeah.
This is before the mouse was popularized for computers.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, there's some games on there I go, oh, well, why is that on there but not that? And it could be because it's already on there. You know.
Yeah, I'm having a look at the list of what's been inducted in the past at the moment. I'm just having a look at their website.
That means, like, I wouldn't know where you'd pick like King's Quest over something like Ultima, for example, but that's probably already in there.
Let's have a look. So they have Mortal Kombat. They've got Oregon Trail. They've Pac-Man. They've got Pokemon Red and Green. Which is interesting. They've got Sonic the Hedgehog, The Sims, Pong, Donkey Kong, Doom, Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto 3, Halo, John Madden Football, Legend of Zelda, Microsoft Solitaire. Yeah, I think that's all of them.
Okay.
So far. So they've only been doing this for a few years. I think they've been doing this since 2016 by the looks of it, or 2015. So yeah, they're only putting in like 4 games a year. So
it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to get everything you want in there.
So, for those unaware, the World Video Game Hall of Fame is at the Strong Museum of Play in Rochester, New York, which I've actually been. It's a very nice place. It's been there for a long time, and it focuses on the history of stuff that you play with, things like games, and toys. And the video game area that was added at the beginning of the 2010s, I think, where they started talking about the history of video games. And a small section of it is the Hall of Fame in the upstairs area, where they have a lot of displays dedicated to each of the games that were inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Of course,
as well as a few playable units for some of those games. Like, so there's a Street Fighter 2 machine next to the Street Fighter 2 display in the Hall of Fame.
Cool.
Donkey Kong has a Donkey Kong machine. And
that's good.
In the arcade area nearby, there's an NBA Jam machine, which I'm sure they would have moved to the Hall of Fame area if NBA Jam made it into the Hall of Fame this year.
It almost feels like they bought that machine thinking it would get in, and they're like, oh, damn. Well, never mind.
Maybe someday
it'll
have a chance.
Yeah, it might get there at some point.
There's a lot of neat arcade games in here, in there. It's the only time that I've ever seen a Sonic the Fighters arcade machine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do actually have a U.S. Sonic the Fighters machine there, which Sonic Championship in the U.S., I guess.
Yeah. The only time I ever saw a Sonic the Fighters machine was back in Sega World, back when I was like 9. That's the only time I ever saw it and played it like once.
Did they have Sega Sonic the Hedgehog there? Or
they did. It was right next to it, actually. It was right next to Sonic the Fighters. They just had them both next to each other. I've got like an old childhood photo of my friend playing it somewhere.
A few years ago, they used to have this cool. Area dedicated to racing video games, where they had a bunch of racing games lined up from throughout the decades.
Oh, nice.
So like they had an old fire truck game from the 1970s. I think it's just called Fire Truck.
Oh yeah.
They had Turbo from Sega.
Oh, nice.
Which, that's the predecessor to Outrun.
Yeah.
Pretty much. They had Super Hang-On. They had Super Sprint, Sega Super GT, Daytona, Mario Kart Arcade GP. They had Cruisin' Blast. They had this cute little podium that kids could stand on to have their picture taken, along with a little trophy. It was so cute.
And not breaking the trophy, hopefully.
I know. It was plastic. It was not very well constructed. It was like a pound shop trophy.
That's your excuse, and you're sticking to it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I put barely any force into that thing. I literally pulled on it like a teeny weeny manage.
Oh, I remember that.
I'll never live that down. Sega will never do anything with me ever again.
I've got your photo up on the wall now whenever you go to one of these events.
Yeah, do not let this... Yeah, they got the wanted poster from Spelunky with my face on it.
Blacklisted you. But yeah, that was just a temporary area in the museum. The racing games have been moved to the main arcade.
Oh, okay.
So where did you say this was? Rochester?
Rochester in New York, yes.
Ah, right. Okay.
Not the one I know.
Yeah, we have a Rochester over here as well.
Yeah. You probably won't be able to go there right now due to the lockdown, but I definitely recommend it when things normalize in New York.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so that was that. I guess going back into like old arcade games and stuff, I guess hang on. Let me unlock my phone.
Oopsie.
We unfortunately we have to. Too late. It just played by itself. All right, we're doing this again. We have to talk about Billy Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to talk about Billy Mitchell. I don't know if Andrew wants to introduce this or anything.
Well, it's been around for a week now, but yeah. Billy Mitchell's back in the Guinness Book of Records due to new evidence being found.
Supposedly, no, we haven't seen it.
Yeah,
tying quotation marks.
Yeah, but yeah, he's got his perfect Batman score back, and he's got his 4 Donkey Kong scores reinstated into like the top 10 leaderboard. I'm not saying I'm uneasy about it, but you know, money talks. So
it kind of feels like they're just going with, especially since all these lawsuits are supposed to be kicking off very soon. That Billy Mitchell's taking against, like, what's it, Twin Galaxies and all that. Yeah. So the video they put out, for starters, they disabled comments and the ability to like or dislike. So that tells you a lot. That tells you something, doesn't it? That just seems slimy straight off the bat. But yeah, that whole video, like, half of it was just this guy from Guinness World Records being like, apparently we had evidence that he was cheating, but now we have new evidence that he wasn't, whatever, and they just kind of like brushed over it. And then the rest of the video was just Billy Mitchell just being smug. Just like, so I don't think this seems
pretty smart.
This
showing the social media too.
Yeah, I really don't think. I mean, Guinness Book of Records have actually been in a lot of hot water lately for a lot of things they've messed up or like gotten the facts wrong. They basically just go with whoever self-proclaims themselves as the top dog of something. They'll just go, yeah, that's fine. We'll just go with that. Whatever's popular, we'll just go with that. I mean, the whole thing with Donkey Kong as well is he doesn't even have the top record anymore. So no. I still think, like, because obviously we've got no evidence either way, the Pac-Man score could be legitimate. We don't know. We haven't. I think exactly. The Pac-Man one is pretty much his thing. He's recently done another perfect Pac-Man run. I believe he did it on camera as well. At a cabinet, so that's legitimate. That's fair enough. But the Donkey Kong thing, all that evidence that was stacked up to, they're making it sound like, oh, well, you can't install their wording. You can't install MAME on an original cabinet. It's like, you can. It's not hard. All you have to do is take the guts out, put a computer in there, and just rewire it in. It's not
what they think an arcade machine is. It's
exactly
just with a TV attached to it.
Exactly, yeah. It's just got a bit of circuit board in it, and that's just attached to a telly, and that's basically all it is. It's not like as soon you don't go inside the cabinet. Like if you remove one of the panels off the wood, it isn't going to stop the machine from working. It's just it's a bit of wood with a TV in it. Yeah, exactly.
And they're saying that you can't do that. People have been doing this for so long now, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
People have been literally putting PCs inside arcade cabinets that boot directly to the game or whatever software they use to select games, like MAME.
Because sometimes it's cheaper than having the original boards and trying to keep like fixing them up and all that. So it works out.
No one's really even... Sorry.
There's a video game, Arcade Spirits, which was in that itch.io bundle you were talking about. Even that game actually talks about how you go about making a MAME cabinet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually a part of the game where they talk to you about that.
Yeah, and the thing is, go on.
No, I was going to say, moreover, this isn't even the dispute that is being made that he's using a fake arcade cabinet. I'm saying he's using MAME off of a PC and just capturing it on a VHS tape.
Yeah, because there's nothing, you can't see the cabinet, you can't hear, in all those videos, you can't hear the arcade stick, which is a noisy arcade stick, it's an old micro.
It's a direct capture.
Yeah, you can't see him pressing the buttons or moving the stick. All it is it's a direct capture of the whatever it is. So, there's no way of proving it was on a cabinet or not. It could have been on literally anything.
And he came after Steve Wiebe for having an apparent fake, illegal Donkey Kong because he had the double Donkey Kong machine. Isn't that a modified cabinet?
Oh, the one with Donkey Kong Jr. on it as well. Yeah,
the
so like the modern-ish one.
Isn't that accepting that you can modify these cabinets? And it's just, it just seems like they have either no idea what they're talking about or they're being disingenuous.
I'm going to go for both.
Yes, I mean, I think Billy Mitchell is being disingenuous, and I think that the Book of Records is being like there's no knowledge about it, or both.
Yeah,
you know?
but I think they're just trying to cover their back. They don't want to get sued as well, and like it's just money speaks, as Andrew says.
Yes. Which is weird because I don't even know where he would be able to stand legally on a legal case on something from another country like that. You know,
Exactly,
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know if Scottish government would really care.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if they do have new evidence that shows that Billy Mitchell's legit,
where is it?
Probably gonna...
For a start, where is it?
He might have to show that evidence in his court case against Twin Galaxies and what's his name? Legend, I believe.
Yes.
Because he's accusing them of saying he's cheating.
Yeah.
So if it gets to a point where he has to prove that he really isn't cheating, he's going to have to make that evidence public when he shows it to the court. Yep. So we'll see how legit that is.
Yeah,
sooner.
Like, if they do have evidence and those are legit scores somehow, despite the fact that the game like renders out the levels in a completely different way to the actual machine, like if there is like proper evidence that he legitimately did that, then fair enough. I'll shut my mouth. But
the thing is, that's non-negotiable at this point. We know for an absolute fact that is how it is rendered, and that is only done in some kind of, basically, even if you don't say MAME, it's some kind of, even if you ran it off the eShop, it's still going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just any version but the original.
Yeah, anything that
cabinet.
Is not rendering.
Yeah, Nothing renders stuff the same way, I guess. Yeah.
No, nothing. So it isn't.
That it's like that, but it's the only way we can really tell the difference.
Yeah,
for the most part. Also, there was all that stuff about how when you look through that whole thing, there's people suspect it's been spliced because his luck with getting all like the the blue barrels is almost technically impossible. It's kind of like how Guinness Book of World Records also had that top score for Dragster for the Atari. The 2600 game, and it was a physically impossible. Hello, Tom, it's in the chat. Cool. It was physically impossible score. Like people actually tried to run it through like AI on an emulator, and it's physically impossible to get the score that was put in the Guinness Book of World Records. So they really should not be like the be all and end all that people use as like
a yardstick for this sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like someone's going to have to come along and take over the whole, video game records. Like one of these websites. We need some other entity, don't we?
Yeah, well, they've just come along and just said we are the sort of authority, and it's like, who made you the authority?
We don't even know how to turn it on.
Yeah, it's like, who made you the authority? You've just come along and said you're the Guinness Book of World Records. You're the authority on world records. It's like, yeah, but you make all the rules. So who gives a damn?
It's been proven that even just going outside of video games, they've pretty much got a lot of things wrong, and they've like deliberately just gone with whoever's got the most money in a lot of subjects. So it's looking like their reputation's been getting slowly tarnished over the last few years.
And as for regards to the Pac-Man score, all I'll say on that is that his Pac-Man score was removed not because of people suspected him of cheating at Pac-Man.
No,
it's because he cheated on Donkey Kong that he was removed from Twin Galaxy.
He was removed full stop from everything he had on there was removed, like no matter what the game was.
They had no proof on the others, but they didn't. It's not about that for them. No. And if the Guinness Book of World Records want to use his Pac-Man score, they can.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't found to have been cheating. Fair enough. But as far as Twin Galaxies are concerned, he's off the site.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. He's been banned. And that's his scores as well. And so no matter how legitimate the Pac-Man one is, if Guinness want to use that, that's fine. But if they want to use the Donkey Kong one, that's really disingenuous.
Yep.
And that's sort of my final say on that.
And the best thing about that as well is he doesn't even have the record anymore. He hasn't had it for a long time, and now it's been beaten again. So it is literally just been beaten by a man called Robbie Lakeman. So he previously had the second highest score ever on Donkey Kong, and now he's taken the top spot with a score of 1,260,700, beating the previous score by just 1,700 points. And this record attempt was streamed over Twitch in the course of around 4 hours, and I believe that was on original hardware as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So either way, even if it did turn out that he was legit, Billy Mitchell, his score's not going to be in the book anyway because he's ain't even the top scorer anymore. So this is all kind of pointless, really. This is all about his pride, really, isn't it? So
this is pretty much
just to reclaim point in history, at least.
Yeah.
He was the top score holder. He may get it back again if he tries.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see him actually just legitimately live stream an actual cabinet and actually prove that he can still do it. If he can do that, then that's cool.
If you saw the video, you saw that he doesn't really have any interest in that. He said that he wants to go back to just being an quote unquote ambassador.
Yeah, which basically means sitting on your ass and pretending you're still hot. Yeah, selling hot sauce. Yeah.
It sounds to me that he's chicken. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think he knows.
I guess I would do the same thing if I had his status. Of course, I would have gotten there by not cheating in the first place.
Yeah.
I'd be myself.
I mean, he's not the highest scorer in the world anymore, and that does make it a bit pointless. He wants it back, but it does make me a bit annoyed still.
Because, of course.
Steve Wiebe was the first one to get that break $1 million.
Exactly.
If not for the fact that his fake score was introduced.
That tape that came in at the last minute. Yeah. I know the films, the King of Kong did sort of dramatic. It sort of added extra drama to that probably wasn't actually there. Like the timing of him bringing the tape in probably wasn't as pinpoint as the film made it look, but they're probably months apart. But yeah,
Steve Wiebe would have been the first to make $1 million, if not for that tape.
Yeah, with the pre-record, the direct capture that has been debated all these years now.
Because he didn't do the $1 million point score that day when he was at the event. He did it afterwards.
Yes. Yeah.
So, if Billy Mitchell's tape is fake, then it's completely legitimate that Steve Wiebe is the first to get to $1 million. If not, then So it is important in that regard.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's still important, but it's just funny that even if he did win the case and he was like, "Yeah, I could be in the book," they won't put him in the book anyway because he's not the top score.
They'll invent some kind of metric as first to get $1 million.
Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah. Just any excuse to get him in there. Yeah. So,
we'll see what happens. That evidence will come out, like I said, unless, of course, either side decides to settle.
Well, I won't buy the Guinness Book of Records that they make next. I'll just look in W.H. Smith's or something and look it up in there.
I don't think I've ever owned one. Like, not even as a kid. I don't think we even had them back then.
Video game one they made.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
I can't remember the last time I looked at one of those books.
Probably when I was in school. Like, I don't even remember. Like, the game ones have only been going for the last few years or so, haven't they? So.
Yeah. When I used to work in libraries, I encountered those quite a lot, and we were even having to do like sort of a summer reading challenge that was themed around Guinness records.
Oh yeah.
But that was the year when my manager just thought, just forget everything. Let's just do everything Minecraft.
Oh yeah, it just resorted to that, didn't it? Speaking of Minecraft, you did all those big construction.
I did some of them.
Minecraft horses and stuff, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone actually had one of them in the end, didn't they?
Yeah.
To get home, didn't they? Bet that kid was pleased as punch.
Yeah.
What if he tried to ride it and just went through it? Just like, wee!
So, he had to be careful because he was made out of like Dolce Gusto pod boxes and stuff.
Which are not very strong. Because they're only made to hold like little
cereal boxes and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. The other thing we could mention that's been in the news, it was officially revealed today, but it was basically leaked earlier in the week that we're getting a Crash Bandicoot 4, which is strange because there has already been lots of other Crash Bandicoot games after 3, including Path of Cortex. I think that's what the name of the fourth one was called.
Yes.
On the PS2. In Japan, that was straight up called Crash Bandicoot 4. But this is interesting. But yeah, they're kind of going for, it's almost like a complete retcon. In fact, they even make a little joke about it in the trailer, didn't they? They're like, "Oh, how many times have you beaten Cortex?" And they're like, 3. He's like, "I could have sworn it was more times than that."
Yeah, I love that.
They literally had a little nod to it. But yeah, I from what I could see from the Summer Game Fest, like the short little interview with Keira Knightley and all that, they were sort of saying, they're trying to go. They want this to be a direct sequel to the original trilogy. They're trying to have that same spirit. They're not going more sort of open like the later games did. They're trying to keep it as a traditional, corridor platformer is the best way to describe it, I suppose. You're going forward a lot, sometimes you're going sideways, that kind of thing. They're trying to keep it to that sort of pure style.
Because I think that's the right move. Because when they made it more open, they got progressively worse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It definitely got more complicated, and level design is harder when you've got more space to think about. When you've got 360 degrees of world to think about. It works for some platformers, like it works for Mario, but not 100% sure if it really works for Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot's always been about precise, like platforming across things, and just having one, and only having to worry about like one angle going forward. The whole nickname of Crash Bandicoot was Sonic's arse because of the camera, because of the perspective. It's all going sort of from the back, and then occasionally side scrolling.
It was an ingenious way to, and you can tell it was made at a time when 3D platforming didn't have a clear cut design. Like it came after some of the later platformers, because their idea was it's going to be a running and a jumping game, but it's going to still have the ethos of not having a lot of movement, as in like side to side. It's just going to be a straight line.
Yeah, I mean, you could sort of sway. Yeah, you can walk left and right. You can walk in all four directions, but there's not really much need to half the time.
Yeah.
The original game was made before the DualShock was created.
That's true. Yeah, so they didn't have an analog stick.
You only had the D-pad to work with Crash Bandicoot, and even with the and even with the sequels that came after the DualShock, they still play perfectly fine with the D-pad.
Yeah, I feel like those games were made around that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 3D platformers, when they expanded out to more open 3D, it didn't really work. Like your Gexes and all that kind of stuff, they weren't croc. Didn't quite translate as well.
Yeah,
it's mentioned that because I played Gex 2 on the PlayStation not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
And and with that game, even though it does work with the DualShock controller, Gex could only run in 8 directions in that game. So even if the game would be better, since he's locked to those, even if the game would be better using the joystick, there's no point since he's still locked to those 8 directions anyway.
Yeah, it's amazing how much that actually does negatively affect it. I remember like Final Fantasy 9 had proper analog, and then when they released it on PS4 and all that with the remake, it doesn't.
Oh, really?
So, so you use an analog stick and you're just snapping to these 8 directions, and it feels very jarring.
Oh, yeah.
It does not feel nice at all.
Which game did you say?
Final Fantasy 9.
Oh, 9.
Yeah. Because that did have true analog. I think it was, 8. I think had it as well. But but yeah, no, I'm happy to see Crash back.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. I kind of assumed they were going this route as soon as like Insane Trilogy came out. I thought this is what they're planning. They're planning to reboot this series. They're using this as a way to get people back in, because it's an easy way to get people back in, because it's the original games just remade. Everyone remembers. Yeah, everyone that had a PlayStation remembers them. It sold crazy numbers. Crash Team Racing, same thing, sold crazy numbers. Familiar, but also had plenty of new stuff in it to make it fresh again. It sort of reintroduced everyone to the characters. So even people that didn't grow up with the original games, like kids, really got into Crash Bandicoot. It's become a thing again. I think they're even selling clothes of it in Primark. It's become a franchise again that actually has some clout behind it now, which it didn't have for a very long time. Pretty much from the PS2 onwards, it just became like another platformer. You know, wasn't really a big deal.
Not many classic game franchises that have been reintroduced in recent years can say that they actually re-entered the pop culture zeitgeist after doing so.
Definitely. Oh, for sure, yeah. I feel like Spyro's probably worked as well in the same fashion, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're planning the exact same thing for Spyro. They're going to make a new one that's in the style of the original trilogy, because that's what people remember, that's what people liked. You know, there was other stuff after that some people liked, but they weren't like massive hits. Plus, there's also a lot of like confusion over who even owns some of that stuff. Like Crash Bandicoot like traded hands with a few different publishers for a while. It all got a little bit confusing, like THQ at one point and Sierra, and kind of went all over the place. It's all just fully owned by Activision now, but at one point it was Universal, wasn't it? And all this kind of stuff.
You brought up the Spyro Reignited trilogy. It's worth noting that Crash 4 is being made by the same developer as that game.
Yes, it's being made by Toys for Bob, yeah.
Toys for Bob. It's being made by the people who did the Crash Insane trilogy or the CTR game. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that could be good, you know. If there's that one issue with the original Crash game, is it for a remake, it didn't hit 60 on consoles.
Yeah, not even if you ran it on like PS4 Pro, it was still 30, wasn't it? I think it might have been a case of one, the graphics were quite elaborate in that, so they really pushed the boat out with like trying to make it look as modern as possible with new shaders and like water effects and stuff. But also, the original games didn't run at 60 either. As far as I remember, they were always 30. And maybe it's one of those things where they maybe tried it at 60. I know you can play the PC version at 60 if you want to. But I think it's one of those things where, like, the gameplay is probably kind of tied down to 30 in the same way that... I think there are some games that you go back to, like Jet Set Radio, for example, that is still 30 frames per second on modern consoles, because if they tried to put it at 60, everything runs at double speed, because the game logic is designed to be 30, it's tied to 30. So without rebuilding the game from scratch, if they were to just up the frame rate, it would just double the speed of the game, because that's just how the game logic works. But I don't think that's the case with Crash Bandicoot, but... It's possible, you know, or maybe they just felt it worked better at 30. I don't know.
Well, Crash Bandicoot, I don't believe that was made with the source code from the original trilogy.
No,
but it was made to map the original game as close as possible.
Yeah, they really did go out of their way. Yeah, they really went out of their way.
I think the PC version actually runs at 60.
It does. You can run that at 60 if you want. So I don't know if that differs how it plays. I had Insane Trilogy on the Switch, and unfortunately I think the input lag was a bit too much on that version. I don't know what it was. I did look it up, and other people were saying the same thing, like there's much more input lag in the Switch version. And unfortunately I just kind of found it unplayable, because that game's hard enough as it is. It requires pinpoint precise jumps at times, and the Switch version I just found it unplayable. So currently Crash Bandicoot 4, which subtitle is It's About Time, because it's time travel, because of course it is, you don't have a platformer series and not do a time travel like
another one.
Exactly. It's not even the first time they've done it, is it? So what was I going to say? You can play as Crash, Coco, and Dr. Cortex, and Professor Cortex, whatever his name is.
Neo Cortex.
Neo Cortex, that's the one. Shows you how much I know. But apparently you can change the characters on the fly. I think Neo Cortex has a completely different moveset in a way. I'm not really sure. I've only seen short clips of like what his gameplay's like, but it does look quite different. It's like involves like some kind of like laser gun and like trapping enemies and then sort of homing in on them and stuff like that. But it looks really pretty. Like the actual graphic style's really nice. The art style's cool. I think it looks really good. Like it's pretty much what I expected an actual sequel to Crash Bandicoot to look like. And as I say, I kind of felt like this game was bound to happen. Like I almost felt like that's what they were piling up for. Like if they came along and went, here's the next Crash game, it's Wrath of Cortex remastered. It's like It's like, because they did the trilogy, they did Crash Team Racing, they could do Crash Bash if they want, because that game was pretty cool from what I remember. I remember that game being quite good. I think a friend of mine had that, and we played quite a bit of that. In fact, I played that before I played Mario Party. So, yeah, so that was like my first experience of that style of game, and I'm sure it was a lot of other people's as well if they didn't have an N64. Yeah. But yeah, if they ended up just remaking like the PS2 era stuff, it would kind of feel like they just don't have any new ideas. So I'm glad to see that they are making something new. I think they said it's been like 12 years since the last original Crash game came out. Yeah, the last time, I think that was like, what was it, that one where you're riding on beasts or something? I can't remember what it was called now, but I remember it being a bit of a bomb. That's it, Crash of the Titans, yeah.
I think there was another game that came after that on the DS.
Yeah,
maybe that.
I don't know. There was a lot of Crash games here and there, all by different publishers. I think even Konami was publishing them at one point. It's very confusing.
Konami actually published the games in Japan.
Yeah, I think they also published I think they've published Wrath of Cortex over here as well, in Europe at least. Yeah.
Yeah,
that one.
That was the last time I played Crash. Was Wrath of Cortex, so.
Oh, Tom says like he's yet to play the Crash games and was let down that they didn't put it on the PS1 Classic. Yeah, where the hell was it? What the hell?
There's a myriad of things I can say about the PS1 Classic. So
yeah, that is definitely a major omission because I know he's been on other systems. He's been on he was on the GameCube, he was on the Xbox and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I still associate Crash with PlayStation. It feels like
if you don't say Crash is the mascot of PlayStation.
Yeah, a lot of people would say that, even though he technically never was officially a PlayStation mascot. He just came across that way because, when the original advertising came out, it was Crash Bandicoot going up to Nintendo HQ and going, "Hey, look, I'm here on the PlayStation." And it always
space we were in as well, where we come from. Like every console has a anthropomorphic mascot or Mario.
Yeah,
and we didn't know that time had ended yet.
Yeah, exactly. It still felt like that was the thing. This was like their answer to it, because it was published by Sony, wasn't it? Even though it was Universal owned, it was published by Sony in Europe at least. So it always felt like they
have a close working relationship with Sony. They always have.
Yeah, it's just a shame they can't be bothered themselves anymore. But they're off doing different things now. They've got a different style of game that's their thing now. So it's cool that we have other developers that are willing to take the
Crash.
Give it another crash.
They do it better than Naughty Dog probably would have done. So
yeah, maybe. I'd be curious to see how the Naughty Dog of today would make a game like that, because it's been so long since they've done a traditional platform, and they've been doing like adventure games like Uncharted and Last of Us so many years now.
Copy paste it now. So
yeah,
I can't imagine it would be a very good game, because they've publicly stated that they just, after they wrapped up the Jak and Daxter trilogy, they just haven't been interested in making those kind of games anymore.
Oh, that was apparent from Jak 2 onwards. Like you could tell from the second one, they were like, we want to move away from this whole platforming thing.
Is it Jak 2 was like, oh, that game over there is quite popular. Ratchet,
but even then, that was still quite a cartoonish game. But
for sure.
They did try to reboot the game, but they tried to change it into something a lot more realistic looking, a lot closer to becoming Uncharted or The Last of Us. And they decided rightfully to scrap it because it wasn't actually Jak and Daxter anymore.
I think I saw concept art of that. It looked, do not want from what I saw. I'm glad Insomniac are still doing Ratchet and Clank, alongside stuff like Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, I for one am happy to see Crash Mania. So
yeah, I guess you sort of. I know some people are going, "Oh, this isn't," calling it 4 is probably a curse. They shouldn't do this. Don't forget Sonic 4, but this is a completely. And it's a Sega of what was it? Quite a few years ago now. Sega back then is very different from Sega now. Or the way they treat Sonic is very different. Like the fact that they actually got Sonic Mania is basically what Sonic 4 should have been. And obviously, if that was Sonic 4, I would have wanted it to be all original levels. But otherwise,
Yeah.
So it was almost like a halfway point between the true sequel to the Mega Drive games and a celebration of those games, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And either way, and either way, the fact that Streets of Rage 4, we have that now, that should immediately just that theory that anytime something comes, that's something that's been gone for a long time suddenly comes out with a fourth entry, it's going to be Sonic.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't
No, Sonic 4 was more of an exception than a rule at this point. Like, I feel like reviving series with a numbered installment does put a lot of pressure on said game. I feel like they might do this justice from little they've shown so far. Because obviously,
I have no reason to disbelieve that they're going sort of really hard on trying to make the game feel like a proper Crash game. So
for sure, yeah.
Sonic 4. Well, let's be honest, you sort of freeze on vertical walls in that game. So
well, the whole thing with Sonic 4 is the only reason they called it 4 was for marketing. The original name for that game, as far as we know, was Sonic the Portable, and it was only supposed to be a smartphone game. That was its original intention was to just be a mobile game. Even I've mentioned this loads of times, but if you look at the casino level, there's literally a Ferris wheel in the background that still says Sonic the Portable. It's like, well, there you go. That just tells you, doesn't it? It was never supposed to be a true sequel to the Mega Drive games. It was supposed to be a low budget mobile game, and then they just got a big head about it and were like, oh, what if we called it Project Needle Mouse and teased all these concept art of Bayonets and got people all hyped up, and it's like this big marketing spin around it, and they're like, oh, we may as well put it on everything now because we've got all this marketing spin over going back to the classics. And
I think as well, Sega knew at this point that they had kind of had a bad reputation with Sonic games that weren't quote unquote true sequels to the old games.
Exactly. And this thing was like the closest they could come up with at the time. Well, it was the closest that they could be bothered to do at the time, even if it was nowhere near on par with like what Sonic Mania eventually became. But yeah.
I'm glad they at least learned their lesson from that.
Oh, for sure. It's quite clear that they did.
Even for part 2, it was a big improvement.
Oh, part 2 was better. Like, I didn't hate that game. I didn't even hate the first one, really. Like, if you just take the 4 out of the title and just think of it as its original intention as being like a low budget mobile game, it's fine.
It's pretty good for as far as a low budget mobile game goes.
Yeah, low budget in terms of like compared to like their big budget games like Sonic Unleashed and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think I can agree with that. It's still a little disappointing.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It had its moments, I guess. Part 2 definitely had its moments. Like, I think it was all right.
And the mobile version is free now and comes with the episode medal right off.
It's part of Sega Forever, isn't it?
Yeah, Sega Forever.
Okay.
Whereas before, you needed to also buy episode 1 in order to access episode medal.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Now it's immediately available whether you have it or not, at least for the mobile version. So
that's fair.
If you're always playing action games on a phone or a tablet, you might as well give it a try.
I mean, when Sonic 4 came out, what was the last good Sonic game? Advance 1, if you want to call that good.
I mean, that's a can of worms you don't want to open, because every Sonic fan's interpretation of the last good Sonic game will be different. Everyone's. Yeah. You'll have secret rings stands. You'll have 06 stands. You're going to have friggin', I don't know. You've probably got Sonic Labyrinth stands out there somewhere. There's always someone. You know Unleashed had its moments. I'd say that game was half great.
Last one in the chat now, so Sonic fan base is a big sort of rainbow of
or
weirdness.
Sonic 3D. Oh yeah, for sure. Literally every game has its.
Every series has its stands.
Well, yeah, every single entry has probably got someone. So yeah.
I suppose you could say the same thing about Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, for sure. I still would stand by Twin Sanity being a pretty good game. From what little I played of it, I still remember that game being quite good. Like it had a pretty unique mechanic where it was Crash and Neo Cortex sort of working together. Yeah, I thought that one was all right. It had this really funny like a cappella soundtrack all the way through it. It just sounded like Smoother Groove was doing the whole soundtrack. It was like, bah, bah, bah,
Oh, yeah.
bah, bah, bah. It was really
Yeah.
weird. It's very odd.
Oh,
but, yeah.
that game was odd.
Yeah, it wasn't bad though. I
Yeah.
feel like it was a decent game. What it was.
Even I
but-
played Wrath of Cortex. I had it on the GameCube, and I remember thinking that game was decent, but I don't
It
remember.
was all
too
right.
much.
That was by Traveller's Tales, wasn't it?
Yeah, that and Twin Sanity were both made by Traveler's Tales.
Yeah.
But I don't remember much of Wrath of Cortex, so I'm actually thinking of playing it again.
Yeah.
Now that Core was announced.
Wrath of Cortex.
Talk about the game on next week's podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is coming out on October 20th. I think they said it was.
Far.
Yeah, it's not far off. It's going to be on. As far as I know, it's only on current gen. I don't think they're planning it for next gen, and obviously it'll be backwards compatible with next gen. But yeah, or forwards compatible, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they don't seem to have a next gen version in plans, and so far there isn't a Switch version either, because I think they're probably going about it the same way they did all their previous games, where they're getting the PS4 and Xbox ones out first, and then they're working on downscaling it to the Switch. Hopefully without so much input lag this time.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's their plan. That might be the way to go.
Yeah. I'd like to actually see them make a dedicated Switch one.
Yeah.
Almost like from the ground up, if they could. I feel like it would work better that way. Like, keep all the base content, but just redo the visuals a little bit.
I kind of miss that in games when you had like a console game, and then when they made the Game Boy game, they had to make a decision. Either they were going to do a one-to-one version on the Game Boy, which often sucked, or they would repurpose the game completely as a portable game.
Yeah,
sometimes you get some really interesting games that way.
Yeah, that going on right up until like even the Wii had that, didn't it? You'd get like Wii versions of games that are just completely redone, like Dead Rising, for example. Like they redid all the controls. Yeah.
That was always a thing, and sometimes you would just get a pared down port of a game for the Wii, like say, but sometimes you would get a really cool version that was really different and fun.
Oh, for sure. I kind of miss that with the Switch, because I feel like everyone's just trying to squeeze games onto the Switch that the Switch can only just barely handle, and it's like, and they're having to make so many compromises that it's like, oh, now it runs at 20 frames per second, it runs at 360p handheld. It's like, is this worth it? Like, it's barely playable. It's just barely playable. Like something like, I don't know, Outer Worlds, which just came out. It's like, it looks rough as hell. The whole game's there, all the content's there. If you can tolerate all the cutbacks in the visuals and the frame rate and the performance and all that kind of stuff, that's cool, because you have a portable version of a top-end PS4 game. That's very cool. But I kind of want to see them go back to the thing where they tailor-make which games. I know we're going a little bit off tangent here, but yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the news. There hasn't been much else. There's been quite a lot of sort of not E3 stuff going on at the moment. There's been a lot of, because basically E3 would have week or the week before, roughly. So everyone's basically got all their announcements piled up that they would have had for E3, and they're just like, well, we may as well put them out. And there's been loads of different streams on that Summer Game Fest where they revealed Crash Bandicoot. That was cringe. Like it started with like a guy in a Crash Bandicoot costume in a mask, going to Keira Knightley's house and be like, "Oh, I've got the trailer in this parcel, but social distancing. I have to put it on the floor, and you have to pick it up." It's like, oh, for God's sake!
And I mean, someone has to make wearing the mask and distancing from people look good, because there's a lot of people.
Might as well be Crash Bandicoot. He's cool and hip. He's just like you. But yeah. Just to give you an idea of just how absolutely batshit insane this year is in general, they also had Alf on the stream for reasons. I don't know why Alf, like, whose decision was this? It was like, oh, we need to bring back Alf and make him a gaming technical correspondent, and he was just cracking the same, just tired dad jokes that he always had done. He's just as unfunny as he ever was. I remember, like, we had talking plush toys of him when I was like a really little kid, and we used to watch it and that, but it was never funny. Did you ever play the Master System game of that?
No.
It's really bad.
I just watched a review of it, and it is pretty awful.
And again, it mostly involves him just making dad jokes all the time. But oh my god, it was so cringe. He was going on about like, I went to a computer college back on my planet, and I was the inventor of what you Earthlings call Hatume Miku. I was like, what? And then at the end of it was like, I'm gonna go raid some Twitch streams. I was like, what? Are you seriously making jokes about raids?
Well, like swatting or what?
Or swatting or whatever. I was like,
I wonder if you mean Twitch raids, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was that was cringe.
A Twitch raid is where you tell a bunch of your own Twitch followers to go check out someone else's stream.
Oh, okay. I think I was getting confused.
Yeah, that's probably right.
It's
so I know about Twitch.
It's definitely not swatting.
I was worried there. The first time I heard it, I was like, what? What are you going on about, Alf? Stop trying to be edgy. You're just a dad joke machine. I don't even know why he was there. Like, it was just baffling.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't think Alf made any type of comeback recently.
Nope, this is just a random thing that just happens because 2020 is a bizarre year full of bizarre things. So I suppose we may as well add Alf being a gamer to the list of weird things. I presume they're going to use this as like some weird way to bring him back as like a YouTube channel where he just plays games. I really hope that's not what's going to happen, but if it does happen, can I just say I called it?
Yes.
Like they're going to revive him as like a Twitch channel, and he's just going to be doing dad jokes while playing Fortnite. I cursed it. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
I think it was last year, SNK announced that they were going to make Athena Asamiya from Psycho Soldier and King of Fighters into a virtual YouTuber. And
I think they actually went ahead with that. Pretty sure they did.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure she's going to be a lot more successful at that than Alf ever will be.
Well, probably.
I don't
she's
really.
Basically the main character in SNK Heroine, so.
Yeah.
But she's arguably less relevant to Western pop culture than Alf.
I suppose.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Alf, but at least Athena Asamiya is a fan base today, whereas
there's dozens of them.
Whereas anyone who actually grew up with Alf,
it's the weirdest comparison in the world.
It really is. Like fan base for some obscure arcade and NES game, or fan base for obscure old 80s program. That I think the only people that like that tend to be ironic about it.
Yeah, I mean, if they made a Sooty and Sweep YouTube channel that was playing games, I'd probably give that a bash.
Just Sweep playing games and just squeaking constantly.
It was fun. Mind you, it was funny when the Chuckle Brothers were playing like Hitman.
Oh yeah, that was funny because that was a one-off.
Golden.
Wasn't it? That was pretty good actually.
Yeah.
I would watch. Well, obviously that's not going to happen now because
no.
pass away. But
but it reminds me
that was pretty fun.
Alf joked about. You said Alf that claimed he's the creator of Hatume Miku.
Yeah, that's what he said.
We already know who the creator of Hatume Miku is. They've already outed themselves. We also know who provided the voice, which was then synthesized to become Hatsune Miku's voice.
Elk. Yeah. I think it was just a really bad joke.
I know it's a really bad joke. I know he's not serious here, but like,
I mean, he's not real, so I should hope not.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't even exist.
But again,
he's a puppet.
My point
It's a puppet.
It's a puppet.
My point is that'd be like me joking that I'm the founder of Microsoft.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's obvious.
There's no point in me joking about that.
Are you the founder of Microsoft?
Yes, I am absolutely the founder of Microsoft.
Put some more money into the channel then.
Yeah, please.
No. All right. Anyway, next topic.
We're pretty much done with the news, so we were just going off tangent in weird directions, talking about Alf for some reason. It's the first time I thought about Alf since I was probably 5.
We talked about Alf a lot longer than we ever should have.
Call me when we get our Timmy Mallet YouTube channel, and then not a second before.
Yeah. God. Right, so I guess I didn't technically plan a main subject, but then I just realised that Sonic's 29th anniversary is tomorrow. I believe it's the 29th. So
Sonic Gold.
Yeah.
Sonic Tuesday.
Well, I guess it would be a Sonic Tuesday. Yeah, it's not the anniversary of Sonic Tuesday, but it is a Sonic Tuesday. Funnily enough, we're actually planning to stream Rayman tomorrow, so
yeah.
Look forward to that.
I'm sure
we'll play some more Rayman Redemption, but
make that a different day if you remember the anniversary sooner. But
I don't really know what I could do. I think I've done plenty of Sonic stuff on the channel so far. There is other stuff I want to do in the future, but I feel like I've poured out most of my nostalgia for the Sonic series in a lot of ways. I did that video about that birthday party that was what was it, his 6th or 7th anniversary or something like that. I don't actually think it was on the exact day. They just picked a random day sort of, but I've talked about Sega World to some extent. I've done all kinds of stuff like that. There's I could talk about Sonic.
Here we are talking about Sonic.
I probably shouldn't.
Talk about all that again. What's stopping you from doing it a second time?
In fact, I've already done it. And editing videos like that takes quite a while. But I even did those live streams where I went through all my old childhood drawings. I went through most of my collection.
If all your Sonic videos are so great, why didn't you make a Sonic video too?
We did a Let's Play of Sonic 2. We did Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 and Sonic Mania and Sonic R and Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World on the Pico. Did I ever tell people the ridiculous making of that Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World Let's Play? So just a random little thing. But what we originally planned for that did actually have a camera put on the Pico while we were playing it, but it was really dimly lit. I think we recorded it at Tom's house. I can't remember.
It was his old flat, wasn't it?
Yeah, his old flat. So I always remember his lights were never very bright, so we didn't have any lighting at the time, and it was just really dimly lit. It wasn't very, the footage didn't come out very well. So I wasn't really happy with it because you couldn't even really see the pages or anything. So I decided to refilm all the footage that I need, just little clips that I wanted to cut into the Let's Play. And what I ended up doing is because I edited the whole Let's Play on its own first, and then I was basically acting out pen movements and stuff to go with the audio of the Let's Play. If that makes sense. So all these little clips are just sort of acting. I'm just pretending that it's like a reconstruction kind of thing, but from better angles so you can actually see things better. So when you go back to that video, just realise how much effort I put into that just to make it look better than just some...
How many people watched it?
Quite a few actually. That one's actually been quite popular. That one's actually had quite a few views over the years. And then I think that video about that Sonic cake you did me one birthday has been really popular as well. That one's done really well.
Yeah.
He's cutting the cake.
Yes, he's cutting the cake. Yes,
So-
that was 97. That was. Although all those years, I thought it was some other kid in that video, and then my mum was just like, "Nah, it's you." I was like, oh. I know I was a very loud-mouthed, obnoxious child, and yeah, I suppose it shouldn't surprise me that much. But yeah.
So Aaron, in one breath, is like, "Oh, I can no longer talk about Sonic. I think I'm all Sonic'd out."
For now. I mean, like, I would like to do some, like, 30th anniversary stuff next year, but I just feel like 29th isn't really, like, a big milestone, is it? It's just another year.
Weird. Yeah.
I mean,
Plus,
it's nice to think about, but the real anniversaries are the ones divisible by 5.
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
the less said about some of those ones for Sonic, the better, especially the 15th came out, and Sonic Genesis. Happy birthday!
We hate you.
Yeah.
Sonic Riders came out that year, and that game was really good.
Oh, that's all right then. That's all right.
It's a strong word.
It is a stretch. It was all right.
It's fun, you know.
Apparently, Phantasy Star Online 2 thought it was good enough to reference it for their anniversary event.
I mean,
by
they still reference 06 all the time. They reference Sonic 06 in Generations, so that tells you everything.
Well, put it this way: I did not break my PS2 playing Sonic Riders, so you know, it's fine. It's better than its sequel.
It was inoffensive.
Are you implying you broke your console playing 06?
Well,
because I feel
if I put it in my PS2, I would have.
Yeah.
No. So Sonic 06, for some reason that is still unknown to me, I decided to complete that twice.
Really? I don't think I've completed it once. I beat Sonic's story, got through a little bit of Silver's, gave up, didn't even touch Shadows, and I never did the last story.
I actually did beat all 3 stories. I really tried to get through that game, but when I got to the last story, I tried so many times for days, and I just could not get through that level. At some point, I just got fed up, and I shut the game off, and I deleted my save file, so I'd have an excuse not to try.
Wow, you even went out of the way to delete your save. Never tempted to play it ever again.
I really tried to get through that game, though. If I didn't do that, I'd have kept trying more and more and more.
Yeah, I mean,
just had to know.
I got to this stage with Tails where you got to sort of go on a bubble and you sort of
Oh
run with him.
Oh god! I remember that one.
I managed to soft lock my game permanently every time.
Really?
And just for some reason I couldn't.
Oh, what a shame! You can't play it anymore.
I know, right?
Oh, my save's broken. Oh, what am I gonna do? Oh, I can't play it anymore. But you know, let's not dwell on the crap. I just want to know what's going on. I just want to know what's next. I just really want to know what's next.
We don't need to do that. There's a lot more to Sonic than 06.
Despite what a
lot of people might think.
Yeah, like Sonic Boom. Yeah, but as for what's next, I mean, who can really say with Sega?
Who the hell knows? When it comes to the Sonic franchise, Sonic Team are the most unpredictable company going.
Yeah, they were meant to reveal the next game months ago, but they couldn't because of a mental health crisis. So I'll give them credit for not trying to rush out an announcement before they're ready, because they do have to worry about their workers, because a lot of them are working at home.
Yeah,
probably can't do as much there as they would have been able to do on the equipment at Sega's offices.
Exactly.
I understand that a lot of people are just going nuts, just thinking about whatever this game could be.
Yeah, I think the other thing is they pretty much said, like, if they did reveal it a few months ago, it would have just been like a 10-second teaser, and that's all they would have, because that's as far as it is. It's not far enough along that they can show too much. So I think they're kind of playing a game of, well, you know, we shouldn't just tease things when there's barely anything to show yet. We should wait till we've got something more substantial, which makes perfect sense to me.
It does.
The first time they were supposed to reveal it was at their South by Southwest Sonic panel. That That's usually what they do when they reveal a new game at those panels.
Yeah, even like that Sonic Team Racing reveal at one of those was so fake. It literally showed a logo and a bit of a car. You know, it didn't like. I mean, you had a rough gist from it, and then people were just getting all hyped up, including myself, because they used the friggin' Sonic R, and it's like, why did they even use that? It was just there, you know. It was just there for people like me to go, oh look, it's the Sonic R.
Well, people were even asking, what's his name, John Burton from Game Hut, because he was the founder of Traveler's Tales.
He was proper OK Boomer about it.
Before we were aware of what Team Sonic Racing was, people were asking him if he was involved. He had to keep telling them, no, he's not.
No, and they literally just used that for retro kudos, I guess. But yeah.
Well, I don't think that we can expect another 16-bit Sonic outing yet. Like,
no, me neither. Yeah, I don't think Mania 2 is going to happen straight away. I feel like if they did that too quickly from the last one, because that Plus came out in 18, I can't see them going back to that straight away because it will feel like they're retreading a bit too quickly.
Yeah,
So
honestly, Takashi Iizuka already said the exact same thing himself, and I have no reason to assume he might be lying about that.
And Sega have also said that they really want to try and actually spend some time on the next Sonic game. Like they actually want to make it. Hopefully, they don't just sit on their arse like they did with Sonic Forces, just like wait 4 years and go, oh yeah, we're supposed to be making a game. we'll spend like 2 years on a lighting engine, a slightly better lighting engine, and then we'll spend about 1.5 years on the game.
Well, I think what we need is a total shake-up of
Again.
Sonic.
Again. Yeah.
We do. I think that the quote-unquote adventure format,
it consists of 2 games.
Yeah, but like 3D Sonic in that sense, where you have like your home in spin attack when you jump twice and all that kind of jazz of Sonic is like we've done this a lot, and it's jumped between sort of mediocre to bad, to bad. Sonic Colors was good. Sonic Generations. I
feel like the boost formula was going in places. Like Unleashed daytime stages were once you mastered them, they were really fun. Colors felt like it was mostly that stuff, but then also some of the level design was a little less Sonic-y. It was a bit more Mario-like. It had a lot of like squares everywhere. Yeah, kind of. But I feel like Sonic Colors is still one of the better 3D Sonic games just because it was fun from beginning to end. It didn't have a really bad final boss. It didn't have loads of grinding anywhere. Not like grinding as in rails, I mean literal grinding. There wasn't like all the medal stuff in Unleashed and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like when they got to Generations, that was like the peak of that style of gameplay, and that was it. I felt like they just got it there, and it was like, that's fine, that works. What you've got there works. Expand on that next time, maybe try and make it even better, like as its own condensed platformer. But they just kind of sat on their ass for a while. They made that Sonic Lost World, which is just weird. Yeah, like I will still say I enjoyed the first half of that game. But it falls apart in the second half. It really does. It got really frustrating, and also it doesn't really feel like a Sonic game in a lot of ways. It just feels like a faster Mario game in a lot of places, even more so than like Colors did, because it doesn't really have what makes Sonic unique in some ways, but in other ways it kind of did. I don't know. It's a weird game.
It had some interesting ideas. I think I knew what they were going for in their head. But it just
definitely, I quite liked the aesthetic of it. I almost feel like that game would have worked better if it was actually classic Sonic in it, because it kind of it had that sort of classic look to it.
Cool.
But yeah, it was another one of those cases where they were just trying to reinvent the wheel again, and it kind of didn't work. Like if you really start to it just kind of.
And it's strange because it's strange. Lost World was a Nintendo exclusive game, and it is the most Mario Sonic has ever been, to the point where it even had DLC levels based on Yoshi and Zelda.
Yeah,
and weird to me they decided to go that route, because it's not the first Nintendo exclusive Sonic game. And
Colors
that came before, including that came before, including Colors. That was Yeah, Secret Rings too. But anyway, for all those games, they stuck more to what you tend to expect from a Sonic game, and most of them, at least, they were generally well liked. Yeah. So
Black Knight, yeah.
I said most of them, not all of them. Okay.
Maybe less than half.
Yeah, but I'm saying it mostly worked. It could have worked again if they just stuck to what they did fine before.
Well, it's like
it has to be Nintendo exclusive anyway.
Yeah, well, it's like Secret Rings. I think Secret Rings has its moments. I think that when the game's fast, aka when you've leveled up enough, and when you get into the groove of it, it can be quite fun.
I guess so.
You know,
I agree with that. I actually rather liked Secret Rings.
I didn't like Black Knight. That game can go to hell.
But you know what? I'll say this: Secret Rings has the most underrated soundtrack in the entire series.
Sorry. That game had 2 songs that it would loop forever. I'm sorry, but that soundtrack drove me insane. It was fucking make me leave my balls, just on loop. On every menu, every time you beat a level, every time you go back to a menu, title screen, everything, it was just that same song. Oh. Yeah. It drove me mad.
I'll give you that, but the rest, all the music, I even still like that song. I'll still stick by that song.
I'll give you that one. I'll agree to disagree, but that soundtrack did my nutting.
But I still love all the music in that game. It's all great music, especially if you want to listen to it outside the game.
Yeah.
I say
damn, it's a jungle. Damn, it's a jungle. Damn, it's a jungle. Damn, it's a jungle. Yep, brilliant.
Okay, yeah.
Jog into that. It's corny. It's super corny.
It's not like Sonic never had silly music before. Remember the song for Death Chamber from Sonic Adventure 2, where it has that moment where during the saxophone solo, where for no reason at all, this rapper's just speaking, pretending to be Sonic and Knuckles arguing with one another, which was so dumb that they actually cut it out of the song for the GameCube release.
Really? I don't think I actually remember.
I mean,
I only played it on Dreamcast, so.
Let's be honest, we can go back to I Am All of Me or I Am All of ME. So, you know, if you really want to.
You're thinking of Unknown from ME.
Yes, Unknown from ME, sorry. Yeah, I love that song.
I think everyone has a guilty pleasure when it comes to Sonic, both the games and the music, so I'll give you that. You know,
you're not a fan if you don't. When it comes to that, I think.
We'll say, for the one, even though there's been a lot of bad Sonic games, I'd say even the bad games have great soundtracks. Like, I'd say Sonic Lost World's got fantastic. I would say that soundtrack's underrated because they've been putting out like remix albums on Spotify lately, including like this sort of like dance party collection that was just like a big mashup of songs. There's no Lost World stuff in there, but there's loads of Forces stuff. Forces soundtrack is very strange. Like I'm gonna have to listen to that one more because it's almost like it falls under that Secret Rings of like this is like incredibly corny and bizarre, but it kind of works.
I think Forces is the first one.
Yeah, I think it's like that with Forces as well. I actually have the CD soundtrack, and I think that's an underrated soundtrack too. Except when it comes to modern Sonic's songs, those songs blow. All of them. They Tomoya Otani, he did most of the music in the game, and he killed it for the Avatar stages and even some of the classic stages.
I still think he's one of Sega's best composers. Like he did most of the music in, I think, Colors, Unleashed, and Lost World, and all 3 of those soundtracks are really good. Like there's some banging stuff.
For the main series of games, he's been the sound director since 2006, actually.
Yeah. I still feel like Unleashed might be one of the best ones of the 3D series. I feel like there's so many different genres like they incorporated into that soundtrack to make each country feel like that, not version of them countries. There were some really legit songs in it. In fact, when you're talking about like music that you really like to listen to outside of the game, I feel like a lot of the nighttime stuff from Unleashed is really nice. Like, it's really chill. It's a shame that when you're playing it, you're playing as the werehog and doing all that annoying combat, like trying to level them up slowly.
100% agree with you there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the most underrated soundtrack I don't know about underrated. One of the soundtracks I really like that people don't necessarily talk about a lot is Sonic 3D for me.
Mega Drive or Saturn?
Mega Drive, not Saturn one. No.
Mega Drive one's very good. Yeah. I still like the Saturn one as well, but there's certain tracks in that are brilliant and certain ones are not so good. But it's got "You Really Are an Arsehole," so I'm happy.
And also, my guilty pleasure is basically any of the songs from Sonic R. So
yes, that shouldn't even be a guilty pleasure. That should just be that's just legit brilliant.
It's right.
I think my guilty pleasure would probably be the Shadow the Hedgehog soundtrack.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
I wasn't really feeling it at first when I was playing the game, but when I revisited the soundtrack years later, it actually really grew on me.
Sega's sound team have always been great. You know, even when they're working on duds, they still manage to make the soundtracks work most of the time.
Well, I'd say with Shadow the Hedgehog, the sheer amount of vocal tracks in that game is impressive. So you can say that every single.
It really makes me wish that Julian Kay kept doing music for Sonic games after that. In particular. Yeah,
I don't even know where I was really going with this. I just went, it's Sonic's anniversary tomorrow, so let's just ramble about Sonic. It's easy. It's easy. You can see how easy it is for us to do this. We could do this all night. It's easy.
We should talk about the music, because Sonic has such a great legacy in video game music alone.
Oh yes, like I would still say like the music is probably still my favourite thing about Sonic. Like, I feel like that's the thing that stuck with me all these years. Like, the Sonic CG soundtrack in particular was what got me into that style of music when I was little, you know? I literally ripped that soundtrack onto a cassette and walked around the streets listening to that. Not completely unaware of what some of the songs were ripping off, you know? It's like, I wasn't aware of State 808, but I was aware of these songs that sound very similar to State 808. And now, like, it's sort of like some of the stuff they've done in Sonic games has sort of formed my musical vocabulary in general. Like, nowadays, like, I'm going back to what the influences of those soundtracks were and finding like the songs that were like, you know, inspired the Sonic soundtracks.
Like Streets of Rage.
Yeah, exactly, same kind of thing. Yeah.
Kinda. I mean, Jun Sonoe, the art director from Sonic Adventure to Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, not art director, sound director. Yeah. He's one of my idols when it comes to guitarists. He's the biggest one up.
Yeah,
he's the guy. He's the guy I strive to emulate the most when I play guitar.
It's a shame you never. I don't know if you've ever got to see him live, but I've seen him live a few times now.
I did see him live.
Oh, where did you see him?
I saw him at Sonic Boom 2014.
Oh, nice. I didn't realize you went to that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but otherwise, Sonic Boom 2014 was awful. For one thing, this was the year they were preparing to launch Sonic Boom, so they had those games on display, which I didn't get to play any of them because I was stuck in line to see Tracy Yardley, one of the artists from the Archie Sonic comics. And yeah, and I never got to see him. The line never moved. It was the whole thing was in this tiny little auditorium where it was so packed you couldn't move. All right, the line never moved because Tracy Yardley was doing sketches for everybody that he came across, and you can only sketch so fast.
Yeah, and exactly.
Of course, I've heard the lines for everything else weren't much better. But it was so disappointing. I'm glad I at least got to see Jun Sonoe on stage. I can take that off my bucket list.
Yeah, I saw him a few times at Summer of Sonic. I will say one thing. When he's on a guitar, absolutely amazing. The one time he tried to do like Sonic 4 stuff on a keyboard, not so much. That did not go well. Because not only was it Sonic 4 music, he kind of messed most of it up, unfortunately. No, it really wasn't. Like, you could just tell he was just not, he was struggling.
He was just not feeling it that time.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. I have got, like, videos of that. I think when I did that Summer of Sonic coverage, I deliberately didn't put that stuff out because I was just like, that's just kind of embarrassing and sad. Like,
yeah. But he was also doing autographs that year, and I brought my CD soundtracks for Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes, which I've never had the chance to have him sign. The table I was going to also had Ted Poley, who was the singer from Escape from the City and We Can,
nice.
which is the theme for Team Sonic and Sonic Heroes. I don't remember if I ever actually saw him at the table, but I didn't get to go to the table. I had to leave early because I had to catch my train to get back home. So before I left, I just walked over to the lady at the end of the table where Ted Poley was, just to buy his greatest hits CD.
Okay.
And she was very nice, and she sold the CD to me. Of course, the CD, none of the music had anything to do with Sonic, which I wasn't expecting anyway. I just wanted to hear more of its music.
Yeah, that's fair.
It all sounded like the Full House theme song to me, basically.
Wow. That's a recommendation.
Yeah,
right.
That's basically what Ted Poley does outside of Sonic.
I just thought of something. Like, I just want to put this question out there because I know what my answer is. But when and where and how was the first time you ever saw a Sonic the Hedgehog thing, and what was your thoughts of it at the time?
Well, I did a video where I talked about this a while ago.
Cool.
So if you want to, it's on my channel, Elk Plays and Paints.
Oh, okay.
So
I'll have to check that out.
I have to make more videos, but based on that. But if you want to check that one out, I kind of go into it. But the short answer is, I was like, I don't know, probably a toddler when I first saw Sonic, so I don't remember exactly. But my earliest memories were I went to a friend's house who had a Sega Genesis, and he was showing me Sonic Spinball, which was most likely the first Sonic game I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
I also watched the cartoons for as long as I can remember, and I remember noticing Sonic in Rad Mobile, the arcade game, when I played it at Chuck E. Cheese.
Huh. Wow. So one of your first
ornament on the rear view mirror.
Yeah, of course. But was that seriously one of your first times you saw Sonic? Was in his first appearance?
Yeah, basically. I used to play Rad Mobile a lot at Chuck E. Cheese.
Wow.
I loved that game.
That's cool.
I loved that
That's
game.
actually really cool that was one of your first experiences, just seeing him dangling from a car. Like, that technically his first appearance in anything.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was the first time I saw him because
no, it was the cartoons.
In order for me to recognize him, I'd have to know who Sonic is.
Yeah.
So I must have seen him elsewhere before that.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, I was kind of specifying
Well,
like the very first thing you can think of, like your earliest memory, I guess.
Yeah, but like I definitely recall playing Rad Mobile before I'd even played Sonic 1 or 2.
Well, that's cool. Yeah.
For me, it's kind of weird, I guess. Obviously, Sonic's always been one of those things that's in my memory. It's really hard to go back that far for me.
Yeah, I can sort of agree.
Sonic's always just been one of those things that's always been there. But if I really think about the first sort of memory that I can think of with Sonic was where I live. There's a dentist in the village, and isn't there now, but it's upstairs from a video game store that isn't there anymore either.
Oh, okay.
And so I was visiting the dentist and I had a video game store downstairs. And it was basically wall-to-wall Sega Master System games. And Sonic the Hedgehog. I remember it because it was £14.
Wow, that's not bad.
So, yeah, I think that's how much it was for the Sega.
That's a good price for back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not bad.
So, that's the sort of earliest memory I have it. But we had a Master System.
Was that from after coming out of the dentist, or?
Well, yeah, it was like the game store was downstairs. So you have to go through the store to go. You literally have to walk through the store.
Wow, I really wish I could have gone to that dentist. I might have actually looked forward to going. Yeah, that sounds like the fact that you got to walk through the store to get to the dentist. Yeah, that's definitely a plan.
Yeah, you've
Wow.
had your tooth out here. Have a present. You know?
Yeah.
It's better than
so,
a lollipop.
Yeah.
I remember that because you go in there and there's a little basically not behind the till, but the till was there, and then to the left there was the staircase that goes straight up into the dentist. And I remember afterwards we come down and my dad said you can have a game. So yeah, I didn't pick Sonic that day because, like I say, we had a Master System. It was my brother's, and my brother said that we have Sonic. So
we have Sonic at home.
we did. It was a built-in game. So
okay. Yeah.
So I don't remember what game I did pick. I think it was maybe World of Illusion. Is it World of Illusion, the first one? Castle of Illusion.
Oh yes, it would be Castle.
Castle of Illusion came first.
Yeah.
That on the Master System, I think it was. Instead.
Oh, nice. Well, it's not a bad pick. That's still a brilliant game.
I prefer that to the Mega Drive one. Still, it might be my bias, but yeah. So yeah, my first experience with Sonic was Sonic on Sega Master System, not on the Mega Drive.
Yeah, I've got to say that was a lot of cases in the UK, because I'm pretty sure that was definitely Murray Curry's first experience with Sonic was maybe Sonic 2 on the Master System. For me, it wasn't actually the games at all. I'm pretty certain it was I can't remember exactly, but it was, I think one of my first Sonic things I owned was that first annual.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah, the Sonic annual, the one that's
the yearbook.
Yeah, it was just like a yearbook, and it had like it was like the first time Richard Elson, the Sonic the comic artist, did the cover and did like some of the stories inside it. I think that was the first time. That was the first Sonic item that I owned, was that annual. So I guess like, and then I very distinctively remember getting my first issue of Sonic the comic from a market that was by a football pitch in Southend. They had they just had like a random back issue, and for some reason it didn't have its cover, so they just let us have it cheaper. And that was my first issue of the Sonic comic, and that was what really got me. That in combination with the cartoons being on TV was my first exposure to Sonic. And then when, because at the time I think that was around the same time we got the Amiga, and then when we were looking into getting a games console, we had the computer, but we also wanted to have something to plug into the TV, and we didn't have the NES anymore. We got rid of that quite a while back because it just didn't properly. When we were looking into when my parents and that were looking into consoles, I was already like wrapped up in the cartoons and the comics, and I was like, oh, that thing's got Sonic on it. So we got the one with Sonic on it. And that's kind of what happened all the time back then. It was like, as I've mentioned before, like the Saturn, it was like, I'm having the system with Sonic on it, like even when it was my own choice, not my parents buying a system. Like when it came to the GameCube, it was like, well, GameCube's going to have Sonic games exclusively, supposedly, for about 5 minutes. So that's how that happens. So yeah, I want to say it was actually like all the other stuff, the comics, the cartoon that got me into Sonic, and then the games just kind of followed through from that.
I'd like to say it's pretty the same thing as well. Like, watching the cartoon series, especially it was a combination of both of them, I think, that I really enjoyed. But I would like to say, as far as like going really back into my childhood's concerned, I may have seen the odd like Sonic advert on TV, like during like ad breaks when ITV was first showing like Disney films for the first time in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
So a film, Robin Hood.
World premiere or whatever.
Or
like network premieres of like Disney films that were already like 20 odd years old.
So I might have seen the Sega adverts back then, but there was also a home video. I can't remember how old exactly we were.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
We might have been around like 5 to 6 years old or so. But there's a home video where it's us as a family. We were around my nan's house and we were playing Pass the Parcel to some kind of acid house with Sonic samples in it.
Yeah,
and you
showed me this home video and it blew my brain. Like Parcel with acid house music in the background, but also like in between the songs, it just went da 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 dong. I was like, what? So is that like one of your earliest memories of Sonic? Just that, or like earliest things on video that you can think of?
Probably the earliest thing.
At the time, you wouldn't have known that was Sonic, but
no, not at that time.
That's really surreal.
You know, round my nan's.
Yeah, rounds playing Parcel to acid music.
To acid house.
One weird little thing about the Sonic cartoons back then on UK TV, because I'm pretty sure you'll know what I'm talking about, is how whenever they would show, because obviously there was Sat AM and there was Adventures of Sonic, on UK TV they always modelled up the intros.
Oh, that was mainly TCC that did that. Yeah,
I think Channel 4 did it as well, but I'm pretty sure it was mostly just the satellite channel that did it. But yeah, sometimes you would put it on, it's like, oh, they're going to put the serious Sonic cartoon, and then an episode of Adventure starts, I'll be like, what? And then they would do it the opposite sometimes. It's like, why? Can't they?
It takes more effort.
Exactly, it takes more effort to put the wrong intro on them. It's like they just thought, oh, they're both Sonic, because I think on the satellite listings or whatever. Oh, actually, that was before they had listings, but that was when you just like press the buttons on the thing. But channel, but they never actually said which Sonic cartoon was coming on. It was just like, it's Sonic. It's like, okay, which one? And it's like you watch the intro. It's like, oh, it's this one. It's like, nope.
Well, they did that with Mario as well.
Yeah, they did. They just didn't care.
Especially on that Channel 4.
Oh god, yeah. I still remember specifically how they showed Saturday on there. They had it on, what was it, like Sunday morning?
Saturday morning?
Or Saturday, and they had that like CGI bug thing after it or before it. What was it called? Insectors or something like that?
Oh, something like that.
Yeah, it was like Saturday and then Insectors.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I've got a few screen grabs because I spent an evening like some months back just going through YouTube channels of like Foretell.
Oh,
like the Channel 4 teletext, and I was and they would show listings of what would be on the Saturday or something.
Oh yeah, did it just say Sonic the Hedgehog and they didn't know which one?
I believe it did. If I can try and find, there's one.
There. Oh okay. Oh wow.
Right, so
is there any way you can put that in the Discord so I can show that on the thing? That's really cool. It's literally a teletext.
So far back.
Yeah, it really is. That was our internet for a little while.
I don't know if America had that. I'm guessing they must have had some kind of version of it.
Right, so on the Discord,
save this, and I'm going to put this.
Yeah,
I'm going to put this on the stream.
They were very vague.
This is very cool.
Right. I don't remember seeing that.
Basically, it was like a surface where you press a button on your remote, and like the channels would have like this kind of text-based thing, and sometimes make images using flat colours.
Maybe hotels might have had something similar to this at the time. Yeah, around here anyway.
And I suppose the other thing I can think of that might be similar to that would be the EAS warnings. They use that kind of text and like basic like
it's called video text. The technology.
Text stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Figure out how to just
because I seem to remember
it's not letting me. Save.
Oh, it was created in the United Kingdom.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it was a UK thing then. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to put a screenshot of it on the actual thing so people can see it.
I posted this on my Twitter some time back because I was glad to find that it wasn't
going to let me get it. It's ridiculous. All I'm trying to do is put the picture in the thing, but it's just for some reason it's saved to my hard drive. I'm saving it to my hard drive, and then it's not telling me where
it is.
Yeah, it should be in my pictures now, but for some reason it put it in downloads and I couldn't find it.
It's kind of like having like a micro computer built into your TV, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's a bit big. This is pretty cool though. Because I do actually remember this exact schedule as well, like having like Sesame Street really early, and then that cartoon called Ovid.
Oh, Ovid and the gang.
That's it, yes. And then Sonic the Hedgehog again. You don't know which one it is. I think it was supposed to be Sat AM most of the time. Yeah, and tennis and stuff. I just thought that was cute. This is a funny little thing. I don't know if Hunk Thunder's got anything you can think of?
The only thing I can remember, obviously, I had a Nintendo, Super Nintendo back in the day, and obviously, Mario being Sonic's rival, I didn't really pay too much attention to Sonic like at the beginning.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I eventually did get a Mega Drive, and I did get I didn't get a copy of Sonic 1, but I did rent it when I went to see my grandma like years and years ago. And yeah, I basically completed it there and then on the day, and then they moaned at me for spending all my time playing the video game that they told me to bring along. So
you're supposed to be spending quality time with your grandmother. What are you doing?
Yeah, I remember playing in their kitchen, which is basically a really, really small kitchen with a little 14-inch TV.
Oh, nice.
So
all these funny little, like fuzzy little memories. Like I've got stuff like that as well. Like when we were having our kitchen extension put in our house, me and my sister stayed at my nan's for I think it was a couple months while they were building it on and off. And I've just got little memories of having an equally tiny TV up in the top spare bedroom, just playing Sonic 2 with my sister a lot and drawing some of those comics I showed on that stream where it was like Sonic meets Dynamite Heady. That was all done there at that time, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I've got loads of weird little memories like that.
My first memories of the Mega Drive, because I didn't have one of those at launch, was at youth clubs. There was a youth club near me, and a Mega Drive set up there, and people playing Sonic 2 and Double Dragon on that.
Oh, blimey, Double Dragon on.
Yeah, I had that on Sega Master System, so I was like, oh, cool. I liked that game back then.
Yeah.
The Master System game. Not so much now.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of Master System games that were kind of crap, like My Hero.
Oh, God. My Hero's kind of charming and it's
just the abrupt opening where he just runs in and punches the girl, punches you and runs off with the girl.
Yeah. Well, it's not that much different from Double Dragon, where they just punch the girl, but yeah. Or the second one where they just shoot her.
Yes, we'll just get to the point this time. But yeah. So because I was late to the party with the Mega Drive. Yeah, Sonic was kind of relegated to the Master System for me for a while.
I think that was a case for a lot of people. I know a lot of my school friends had Master Systems as opposed to Mega Drives. They either had NESs or Master Systems. I want to say I might have played Master System Sonic on a built-in Master System before I played the Mega Drive one, because as I say, I didn't get like a Mega Drive until like 93, I think it was, like around the time when all the cartoons and that were on. But yeah, I think I did play a bit of the original, like Sonic 1 on the Master System, because I think most people, I know a lot of Master Systems had Alex Kidd built into them, but I think everyone I knew that had a Master System, they had Sonic built in.
Well, the thing is, because like I say, the Master System was my brother's, and what often he would do with his friends, he would trade Master Systems. And get the different built-in games that way.
Really?
Yeah. So we
That's
would.
cool.
Sometimes I'll turn on, like, I'll play the built-in game, and it's Alex Kidd, and then sometimes I'll do it again, and it'll be Sonic the Hedgehog. So
wow, that's interesting.
It was kind of ingenious in a way.
I love the fact that the Master System had a built-in game in it. That was just such a bizarre little thing. I think there were actually sort of ways that people found that you could just, like, you could go into a shop and you could just put any game as the built-in game. You paid someone for it, and they'd just like burn the ROM into the bottom of the system or something. I don't know how it worked, but I don't know if that's even true or not. I just vaguely remember the people talking about that.
I would be surprised if it could be one of those things that people said, or it could have actually been a thing. I mean, hacking systems was more common back, maybe not back then, but like PlayStation and stuff, chipping a PlayStation.
Even like the Mega Drive days, I remember like on that, what was that program called? Used to be on the gaming one, not Games Master, the other one.
Is it Bad Influence?
Yeah, Bad Influence. They would actually straight up talk about like bootleg Mega Drives on there.
Oh,
it's like, you can play Japanese games on this one that you can buy from shops for £10 and stuff like this, and like, you can inject a built-in game into the bottom of it, and they would actually straight up show like the fact that you could I don't know how Sega let them get away with it, to be honest. Like,
I guess.
It was a different time, there was a lot of that going on. And I do actually remember, that little market that used to be just outside my house, like that little strip of shop that used to be there, Stacey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of area. I remember there was like a little market store there that would always get like Japanese games, and I still remember picking up a copy. I didn't have a Game Gear at the time, but I remember them having a Japanese copy of Sonic 1 like in its box, and just being like, oh, that looks cool, it's like in a different language.
Yeah, my first import game that I ever got was Lion King on the Genesis.
Oh, right, yeah, that's funny. Your copy was Genesis as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Electronics Boutique, as it was then, had a copy, and I didn't even know. Like, it just said Genesis, but I was like, well, this is clearly a Mega Drive game. So
yeah.
So I didn't even know that it was different. It wasn't really until the internet age that I kind of knew that I found out that they called it the Genesis. And
it's quite interesting to go back to like old magazines and stuff like that about like the Mega Drive era, because importing was rampant back then. Like, the unofficial, not the official magazine, but all the unofficial magazines would review import games, and they would say, oh, here's some shops you can get them from. And it'd be like, oh, this is how much it is. It's like not that much more than buying a official UK release. In fact, when you look at some of the old like Mean Machines magazines, they're actually advertising buying a Japanese Mega Drive before it had even come out in this country. Like, because we had to wait so long to get it in Europe that like they were literally just talking about Japanese games as if they were just everywhere, and I think they kind of were back then. Like,
there was a scene for that.
It really was.
Yeah, that was a thing in North America too.
Oh, was
there
it?
were a lot of magazines. Yeah, here in America, there used to be a lot of magazines that would advertise import games too. Especially during the 32-bit generation with the Saturn and PlayStation.
Yeah, I just seem to remember a lot of that going on. So, as I say, those little market stores that were literally just outside my house. I'm actually really surprised I never had any Japanese games growing up, because they were sometimes they were cheaper.
With the PlayStation in particular, there was a lot of games that were very popular to be imported, and those games would eventually get picked up by a Western publisher and released in America after the PlayStation 2 came out. So like this is how Dragon Ball GT Final Bout wound up with an official.
Oh god, yeah.
With the Dragon Ball games on the PlayStation, we got them really late, but our versions
they did in America as well.
Yeah, ours were weird mistranslations of the French versions.
Yeah, so some of the characters' names were all messed up, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that happened. This happened before Funimation started dubbing the series.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the case here as well. Like, they came out just before the.
We had Final Bout released here before GT had even begun.
Yeah, so it had all these characters in it. Like, who are even some of these characters? It's like it's the future, and yet it's clearly a game from 1997. Because look at it.
It was the same case here as well with Dragon Ball GT.
But I remember I had a friend who lived across the road from me, and he had an American Super Nintendo.
Oh wow!
And to me, that was weird. I'd never seen an American Super Nintendo.
Yeah, because they've got a completely different design. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought it was just a different version of the Super Nintendo. I didn't understand at the time. But he had the sort of like a cart, the thing that lets you play cartridges from other.
Oh yeah, it's like an adapter thing. Yeah, where you put like the original region in the back, and then the
Yeah. And I remember, because that was the first time I saw that he had a Go Nagai game, like a Japanese game, and it was like Go Nagai, so you could play like Devilman and Mazinger and all that in it, and it was like a brawl.
Oh yeah.
It's super obscure. I even
was it an SD game, like Super Deformed?
Yes, yeah, Super
Deformed. Oh, is it I think
Chara or something?
Yes, I've played this on Dream SNES on the Dreamcast. I actually know this one. I think. I don't know if he still has it, but Murray Curry had an instruction manual of this.
That's the manual from the friend I'm talking about.
Ah, well, there you go.
He gave me
CB. I think it was like CB Chara Wars or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one. Yeah, I actually played quite a bit of that on on emulators, but like on the Dreamcast emulators. Yeah, I know the exact game you're talking about. Yeah,
I knew Devilman, so I saw that and I was like, "That's Devilman." I shouldn't have been watching Devilman at that time in my life.
Yeah, you really shouldn't.
But I had seen it, so
yeah.
he just gave me the manual because I liked the art and I was flicking through it, and then I just gave it to.
I'm not 100% sure if he still got it, but like last time I was around, or sometime back a couple of years ago, I remember him just randomly having it in his collection. It's like, oh, you got this random Japanese manual. I recognise this.
And, also, because his brother, I think the Super Nintendo was his big brother's as well, but his brother was playing Final Fantasy as well at a later time, and he had an import PS1, and he showed me Final Fantasy 9 before it come out here.
Oh, nice.
And I was very confused because, like I say, he showed me the box, and it's like, this design is very different because all of ours have like this same coherent box art, based on the Japanese one, and his one was, well, you've probably seen the Final Fantasy 9 box art from America. It's just got all the characters on it.
Yeah.
And that was just a bit weird for me because I didn't really know about importing at the time.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so
I wasn't really even made aware. Like, importing didn't even really come into my mind until sort of like late years of the Sega Saturn, when the official magazine just gave up covering what little was coming out here and just started going into import stuff and encouraging people to buy import stuff.
Yeah, it was the only way to keep Saturn alive, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah. They were actually talking about how to chip. I can imagine that's why that publisher didn't get the rights to the Dreamcast magazine, because they basically just went, hey, here's where you can go get a console chipped and play legit Japanese games. They weren't asking people to play snides. They were just saying, here's all the Japanese games you can get that we're never getting.
Yeah, I mean, I never understood the whole American games were black and white back then, but you sort of, nowadays it all makes perfect sense, but at the time I didn't understand.
Yeah, I was in black and white because it's weird. They still have black and white TV in America. Or something. Well, that was fun. It was a fun little trip down memory lane. We kind of went.
Remember how we were talking about Sonic?
Yeah, I know, but as soon as teletext came up, it all kind of went out the window.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It happened.
It
happened.
I like reminiscing about weird fuzzy memories about video games. It's fine. It's all cool.
I want to see if I can dig up that home video.
Yeah, that was. I just remember when you showed me it was like, Aaron, you need to see this, and I was like, okay, it's just you playing Parcel. This music's very inappropriate, and as soon as that came, I was like, what? Because that's another thing about like those early days of Sonic the Hedgehog. He actually had a bit of an unofficial acid house dance, like rave mascot.
Yeah,
kind of.
He had a bunch of European dance CDs.
I'm not even talking about those. I'm talking about like the unofficial scene, like really seedy clubs in London would just unofficially use Sonic for their dance, like their acid party, like posters and stuff. Sonic became a bit of an unofficial mascot for that scene. Like that music scene in like the early 90s, just because he had the big spiky blue hair and all that, I suppose. They kind of stood out as a thing. He just became like, there are like magazine scans out there that kind of show some of these old posters off, just like bootleg Sonic artwork on their posters, and just kind of unofficially became that part of that scene, which is funny because a lot of the soundtrack to Sonic CD was taken from some of that as well. So it was influenced by a lot of British dance music from the time. So it's an interesting, like, I just love that weird. It also makes me wish I was a little bit older, just so I could have experienced maybe not so much the CD club stuff, but like being more aware of it at the time, and that's probably why they had a Sonic sample on that acid thing you were listening to, or you had in the background. That's probably
really interesting.
Like I don't know if there's much documentation about that stuff, but there definitely is some magazines that talk about it from back in the day, sort of like official mascot for a while. It's strange. Sonic has a very interesting history in the UK in particular, because It's very different to America's history.
It was very much part of the zeitgeist for everyone.
Yeah. More because it wasn't even just the games, it was the cartoons and the comic strip and all that unofficial stuff that happened. Going back to just one last thing, going back to me remembering my first Sonic procession was that Sonic Annual. The other thing I remember having, this was around, I've still got a photo of me really sunburnt in Spain reading that annual, but I think my other first Sonic thing I ever had was a bootleg t-shirt of the box art to Sonic Chaos, but everything's all miscoloured. I'd love to find a picture of it, but I don't think there's any documentation of it online, but I just remember having this white t-shirt with like miscoloured Sonic Chaos artwork on it.
Yeah, I mean, I always
that came from Spain. Yeah, and that was in Spain, so...
My dad was always big into Formula 1, so obviously...
Oh, yes.
The Renault F1 car, Nigel Mansell's car.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah,
I was always aware of that aspect during the golden age of F1. So
Go on.
Did you notice that F1 McLaurin showed on Twitter that they had that Sonic trophy returned to their archives?
Yeah, it'd been sitting in storage for years, and they finally put it back on display again. That thing's bloody huge. It's massive.
It probably had something to do with the fact that McLaren just went under. So, that's probably why.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Yeah. That would make sense, I guess.
Yeah. I was just really surprised they even still have that statue in any capacity. I'm surprised it didn't end up in some collector's hands somewhere, just hoarded away. You'd think so, wouldn't you? But or either that or it just got smashed up. But the fact that they still had it is quite phenomenal. So again, that kind of gives you an idea of how big Sega was in the UK back then, to the point where there were Formula 1 events that literally just had Sega on everything.
It was huge,
Yeah, it really did look like the Sega track from Formula 1 Beyond the Limit on the Sega CD.
Yeah, that was probably partially based on that.
Most likely. Yeah.
Waterstone, is it? Not Waterstone. Whatever the UK track is on Formula 1 back then. Silverstone, that's it.
Yeah, Silverstone was just plastered in Sega back then, yeah.
It was weird though, because I think
it was only 1 year, but...
We didn't get the Nigel Mansell's Formula 1 on Mega Drive, did we? It was a Super Nintendo game, I knew that.
Yeah, that's a SNES game. You're thinking of, what was it called?
Senna.
Yes, that's the one, yeah.
Which I guess makes sense. Brazil was big on Mega Drive as well, so...
Yeah. Right, cool. Yeah, I think I've pretty much got all that on my system. These random little fuzzy memories. It's fun. Right, so...
I'm just glad that Europe really liked Sonic, at least at the time.
Oh, definitely. I feel like Sonic never really... Obviously, there was a few years around the Saturn era where he sort of faded into obscurity, but I feel like it was around the time Sonic X came out and they started putting Sonic games on like the GameCube. That's when it all started kicking off again. Like, you would literally go into game and kids were just staring up at the TV going, Sonic! And it's like, oh, he's back. Kids love him again.
It never really went. I think it's just because it was by necessity. Sega weren't making Sonic games for a while.
So... Or they were on a console that no one had. Yeah. Like, no one really had the Saturn. And, like, if Sonic was on the PlayStation 1, then he would have been huge. Like, probably bigger than Crash at the time. Likely. But, like... Yeah, obviously he was only on the Saturn at the time. As soon as Sonic ended up on like Nintendo consoles, I feel like Sonic's too big to be chained to one console. He had to be let free at some point. Sega in general just needed to branch out, as we've explained previously. Their games are bigger than their consoles, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did come to that. A podcast or two ago when we talked about Sega's 60th anniversary.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I think we should probably wrap this up. That has been Lucky Hit Podcast number 76. I've been the Gagaman.
I've been CherryT.
I've been ShelvedGamer.
I've been Hunk Thunder.
And I've not been playing Phantasy Star Online 2 this whole time. Damn, I need to log back in again. Oh yeah, and also I'm Elk.
Yep. Yeah. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us every week. We're going to continue keeping this weekly as long as we can.
Inching towards 100.
Yeah, I'd love to get to 100. I feel like we will get there at some point. Just a warning that I don't know by the time, because I might be going back to work in a couple of weeks, so I don't know if I'll be able to consistently do them at the same time every week. On Monday 8 p.m. every time. So I guess once we get to that point, we can figure all that stuff out. But it might be slightly less. Like I'll still try and keep them weekly, but it probably won't be like same back time, same back channel, but not the same back time. If that makes sense. So yeah.
Whatever happens, because my work's a bit up in the air as well. I'm sure we'll be able to plan something around it.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm adamant about keeping at the very least this podcast weekly because I enjoy doing these a lot, and whether we'll be able to do live streams, we won't be able to do them as frequently as we are right now. So I'm just going to take advantage of it at the moment. So tomorrow we've got both the Salt or Hype for the NGEX. I think it's like New Game Plus Expo, which is apparently going to have Sega there, as well as like Atlas and a load of other developers. So we'll see what that's going to be all about. And we're also going to play some more Rayman Redemption because we want to hit that. We want to hit that Iron White's hot because did you see how popular that last one was?
Yeah,
like
something now.
Yeah, people were really looking forward to seeing that being played, I think. So, we definitely want to play some more of that on stream, probably tomorrow. So, I would say, I already said it earlier, but I would say I'll do something Sonic, but I feel like there's plenty of Sonic stuff on our channel. We need more Rayman on the channel. I feel like Rayman...
You'll repost one of the old Sonic videos.
Yeah, I could just do that. Or the whole playlist. There's a whole playlist now. I basically put everything under the South End of Sonic banner now. So I just feel like that's a good name for all our Sonic content.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't even have to necessarily... Because originally it was obviously a reference to the fact that I was from South End. But now it just works as the South End of Sonic.
I actually never understood that name until now.
Yeah, no, it's basically just named after the place I live. I used to live.
Or you used to live in, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I even knew Southend was a town in England.
Yeah. Well, alright, we'll be off then, so we shall see you next week. Yeah, we should be able to do this same time next week.
Will.
Yep, see you later.
Alright, thank you and good night.
Have a nice week, everyone.
Bye.